as a country, more economic activity, more taxes for the government, everybody does better. But most importantly, we progress beyond where we are now and we move into the future. So I believe the future is online, it's digital, but we have to be prepared to take advantage of that.
And I'm going to double tap on the human capital, but just give me a chance to touch on something you mentioned, Neil, and I'll ask Neil this question about funding. The infrastructure for technology can be expensive. Who is funding this, and how do you fund it now?
So, we're at the Jamaica Stock Exchange Conference, and we talk about how the chairman has taken this vision, one of the most successful stock exchange in the world. The thing that I think we don't talk about much is what I call risk capital. And when you look at Silicon Valley, for example, people say why they're so successful. And I think if we start making investment, and Ricardo is touching on that, in our human capital, where folks in this audience will make a bet and put capital to drive innovation, knowing that if you make 10 bets, only one will actually succeed. If you change that culture, Jamaica will become a hub for the next unicorn, which is $1 billion plus company. And if you invest in that human capital, the sky is the limit. So I think risk capital is an important component. And I think if we drive a culture in Jamaica of doing risk capital, you'll see that human capital growth that we're looking for.
Excellent. Nelia, you want to contribute to this?
Yeah, and you know, I think it's a combination, right? Because you have a combination of private and you have, you know, public funding, and you have access to funding through different organizations. So, for example, you have the Caribbean Development Bank. You have, you know, what you call the Caribbean Smart Accelerator Program that provides funding. In Trinidad, there are also institutions to provide funding to startups and fintechs. So I think it's accessing that funding once you have a true business case provides the opportunity for small entrepreneurs to really move forward with the projects that they have. So there are various, you know, besides government bodies and institutions that you can really get funding. How do we extract that funding, you know, is another step. And how do we promote the funding for the startups and developing that business case is really having sort of the leadership engaging and having that connection.
Excellent. And I failed to mention that I work with the IDB, and at the IDB we are front and center in this, right? Working with our development partners, like a DBJ with the stock exchange, working to provide this funding that is needed sometimes for these investments. And I will really, because I'm very mindful that we want to keep on time, I'll just go to you, Ricardo, about the human capital. What are the gaps you're seeing in human capital development, and how are you bridging that gap at your company, and how can we bridge it widely in Jamaica and the Caribbean?
Oh, thanks for that question. So, you know, the way I see gaps, it's kind of twofold, right? You have a primary high school gap, and then you got the workforce gap, right? Now, the first thing I'll mention is that in Jamaica right now, the workforce is about 1.4 million persons, and less than 400,000 of that workforce have done education beyond the secondary school. That's a big, big problem, right? And why that is a problem, I'll tell you in short terms, right? The way the world is going right now, the global workforce is no longer restricted to, or your workforce is no longer restricted to a country, your workforce is global. So when you find that I need a developer, I need to go to Pakistan anywhere, I can get that developer anywhere in the world. The same way another country needs a developer, they can come here. If we don't have enough people to fill that gap, we can't compete with the India and the Pakistan of the world. Those jobs are paying much more than the regular jobs. And so if we have a gap in training at a tertiary level, we will have a gap in the ability of people to earn at that level, number one. Number two, in order to matriculate into tertiary at a high school level, you must, let's say, have math, language, and a few other subjects. Less than 40% of our high schoolers are moving on to tertiary education. They are not matriculating. Why they are not matriculating? Well, the math rate across the Caribbean is 40%. Math is fundamental, for example, to the emerging technologies in AI, machine learning, and other important technologies that has come. So we need to solve our foundational STEM problem or math problem at the lower level, and at the tertiary level, at the workforce level, we need to ensure that people have access to training, on-the-job training, and not only just having access to any training, we must have the best people doing training. I'll leave you with this. In Singapore and Germany, it is harder to be a teacher than it is to be a doctor. The reason why is because teachers are the creme de la creme. These are the most brilliant people in the society that they get to go back to the classroom and teach. We can't get the most brilliant people because we're not paying them enough. And if we're not paying them enough, we can't get the best people. If we have the best people teaching our minds, next generation, that's how you effect change. And we must be brave enough to make those decisions. That's where we need to go.
Thank you very much for that, Ricardo. I heard the room just get silent, so I think the audience appreciate that thought. Delia, I just wanted to tap on that with you. You're from Trinidad. How is it there? Because we want to get a broader, this is a regional conference. We're going to get a wider perspective than the Jamaica context. Can you share an insight?
Sure, and I think that, you know, the investment in human capital is not just, you know, in Jamaica, it's a Caribbean strategy that we need to really embark upon. You know, that's the engine that will drive digital growth. And we see that because now you have the awareness, right? So I'll give you one example. When we look at deploying any sort of mobile wallet, for example, and we talk about adoption goes back to awareness, you know, and that has to start from education programs. You know, when Ricardo spoke about the STEM, it is true. Having that at the primary level, having, you know, institutions, private and public, coming together to talk about how do we leverage and really give back to the community by giving them laptops or tablets. That starts the awareness from then. How do you bring in, you know, cybersecurity training from that level? Because there's an element of fear in technology today.
Yes.
How do we educate the older workforce to also, they're not left behind? Because as we embrace technology, there's a gap really of who will be the early adopters or who will be waiting to see does it work or not. So there's still an element of fear. So human capital is a strategy for the region as a whole. And I think collaboratively, we need to really put our heads together and says, as a region, how do we improve it so that there are a lot of cross-border opportunities, there are a lot of skilled workforce throughout the region. How do we leverage talent? Is there an online platform we can share? We have, you know, the smaller countries that may need support from those who are skilled workforce. And how do we prevent brain drain? You know, Ricardo talked about the skilled workers leaving, and I think that the Prime Minister spoke about yesterday. You know, you have so many Jamaicans outside who are skilled. What attracts them to come back in? And I think once we have that and we give back, we are now on the journey for what we talk about, a human capital strategy, because that's the engine for digital growth.
Excellent. You seem like you want to come in, Anil.
I want to add something and challenge the companies who are in here. So one of the North Star that we have at Deloitte is the communities that we operate in, we make them better than when we engage. And I'll share a program that we started in Washington, D.C., where I convinced the company, let's go into the Black and brown communities in the high school, Oxney Hill High School, Lager School, that have limited resources. Let's go make that investment. And I was telling Colin this, I got the report, so 2021 was the first time, and this is teaching artificial intelligence to all these high school, 15 years old to 17 years old. I got the report from the team yesterday, and the first batch we had was 40 kids. Remember what I said, 15 to 17 years old. And some of the time is the first time they're interacting with any corporate companies. Out of that 40, 15 are in college studying computer science. So for all the companies in here, I think, as we say in Jamaica, it takes a village. And Ricardo, you mentioned that human capital investment is super important. And I think collectively, this is where you're going to see the big lift. And also, Ricardo mentioned, you know, ensuring you're paying, because we're now in a global world where you have to compete with the likes of India, the Pakistan, the Philippines, etc. So I think a private-public partnership is super important. And we at Deloitte, is something that we focus on. And I'll share one last thing. When I was pitching this program to the firm, what I said, if one of these kids, if they don't come and work for us, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But when I make a call 15 years from now, that person will remember that it was a Deloitte person that gave them their first start. So I would implore this group to think about how do we collectively do human capital development.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I'll just let the audience know that I will be taking questions shortly, so you can start preparing your questions as quickly as possible. I want to shift gears a little because you mentioned something about sensitization and awareness and adoption, and it comes with this perception, real or perceived, and in a lot of cases it's real. And this question I'm going to ask, this is real. So we're talking about cyber attacks. And when I was preparing for this panel, I was trying to do some research and to see statistics, and I saw that in 2024, for the first half of the year, Jamaica had 4 million attempts. So this is a big question. We're talking about technology infrastructure. We're talking about investments in technology. How do you prevent and mitigate the impacts of cyber attacks? And in this region, how we have been having all of these challenges as we have been going on. It's open to anyone who want to take the first go at it.
I could take the first go at it. So Terry, I will sort of reframe the question. I don't think you could prevent cybersecurity. I think you have to mitigate it. And especially now with artificial intelligence and the changes in techniques and procedures, you have to engineer cyber into the application. You have to move from a compliance-driven culture to one, as you're engineering these systems, cybersecurity and cyber resilience is core to how you operate these applications, because the bad guys are changing every second. In September last year, I'll give you an example, you guys have heard of digital fakes. There was a particular bank that an employee got a request to transfer $20 million. The employee responds back to that email and said, we have procedures and policies in place. Whoever was doing this cyber incident responded and said, absolutely, let me set up a call. A call was set up with the CEO, which is what the employee thought, and all the relevant personnel were supposed to approve that. All those persons was deepfake. So imagine if that is done at scale. So as you look at cyber, you have to start engineering cyber into everything you do. So it's not just a compliance aspect of it.
Go ahead.
I'll just add to that. I met with a company recently, publicly listed company. And, what the company expressed to me was that they have told their employees not to use ChatGPT or any of the AI tools simply because they're sharing their data externally, right? Now, I want to give you two scenarios. Let's say you have that company, let's call it company A, and let's say you have another company, company B. One company says, don't use AI, it's going to steal our data. And another company says, let's use it, but let's figure out how to secure the data. In 10 years, which one do you think is going to be more advanced? Ceteris paribus. Company B. I'll tell you why. AI is changing the way we do work, right? There's a way to protect your data to guard against cybersecurity using AI. It's called enterprise generative AI. What you do is that the same functionality that is in ChatGPT, you offline that functionality, whether it is in a private cloud environment or in your own organization, and you have the power of artificial intelligence that powers your team. At one-on-one now, I'll tell you, roughly about 18% of our code is written by AI, or software code, right? Meaning that I am employing 18% less people, spending 18% less money to do the same work at a faster rate, and it doesn't sleep. It works 24 hours. So that's what I'm saying, that cybersecurity, I'd flip the question a little to say that while it is the case, as we go online more, there's going to be more exposure to cyber attacks, those sort of things. We have to train our people. It goes back to training. Your chain is as strong as the weakest link. Therefore, if your persons at the company are not trained properly, Janet Yellen, the Fed chair that just came out, her computer got hacked recently, I think 2 weeks ago. It is as strong as your weakest link. So if everybody is in your organization not trained, not equipped to deal with these things, to see these things, to see an email and know not to open it, you're in trouble. So it goes back to training. We have to ensure that everyone is trained, equipped to deal with these issues because it's everybody's issue.
Thank you very much. And I think at this point we can take 2 questions from the audience. Do we have a roving mic? You could just raise your hand so I could see if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll just move on. No questions from our audience? Okay, excellent. So that has been great so far. So let's double tap on the infrastructure, and we have been lagging behind in the Caribbean somewhat. How do we improve with all the changes that are happening? You touched it a little, Ricardo, in what you were talking about. How do we move from where we are now and not just always be catching up? How do we get ahead of the curve as a region and Jamaica?
As a region, thanks for that question. This is something I feel very passionately about, and I would ask the audience to just pardon my passion for the next 30 seconds, right? The reality is that AI, as it stands now, is trained based on data that exists on the internet. You would agree, right? But it is trained by data from extra-regional countries who are influencing the biases in this data. So what AI is a matrix algebra. You get an input, you apply a matrix to it, you get an output, and they apply a bias. That's all it is. And it looks good because it seems right, right? But if you have extra-regional countries training the AI, it will be biased to their ways and forms and values. As a Caribbean nation, we have to get ahead and train our own models that satisfies our needs, our cultural context, etc. And that requires a lot of training again from ourselves. We need to equip our engineers and so on. But the government needs to invest in this sort of thing as well. I see every day public entities in Jamaica sending out, Jamaica, the Caribbean, sending out businesses to all over the world. We have enough talent in the Caribbean to do the work. And if we don't invest in that talent, we won't have the people tomorrow to do it. If we keep pushing out the money. That's one. The last thing. When we want to build a road, what do? We call in the French, the Chinese, and so on all over the Caribbean. They give us the money, build the road. We have a toll mechanism to collect it back. That's how we do it, correct? It works because the road pretty, everybody can see it and so on. Can we look at education the next 18 years and look at see what we need every year as an education budget? Stop telling me you can't afford it. The Jamaican education budget now, and in the Caribbean I can tell you the numbers, is $1 billion a year. If you take that money, $1 billion a year, and you double it, what does that mean for us in 10, 18 years? Can we calculate that, discount that back to today and see the value that we're getting now? And can that increase our productive capacity to tomorrow so we can get more taxes, more revenue? These are the things we have to do. How we do that, we can have a discussion. It could be an education bond, I don't know. But these are the things we have to do. We have to be brave, and we have to make decisions today that will impact us 10, 18 years down the line.
Thank you. Excellent. Go ahead, O'Neill.
Ricardo was...
Okay, Neela, go ahead.
Ricardo, and that's the truth, because at the end of the day, how do we build that pipeline of engineers? How do we build that pipeline in our own communities so that in 10 years, they are ready to support what we have locally and we maintain local? So, we talked about infrastructure, but when we're doing broadband expansion, for an example, you still have rural areas that don't have access to the internet. So how do they get access to information? How can they do any online training? So I think it has to be a specific approach when we talk about infrastructure development for a country and a nation, but it has to go back to what the strategy for the economy is. So, we talk about a country-in-which strategy that talks about digital transformation or a business-in-which strategy, but the people should be the forefront for the strategy development.
Thank you. O'Neill?
So Ricardo touched on investment. So I'm sure you guys heard Stargate was announced yesterday, $500 billion to build out the AI infrastructure, because the US, we said we want to be a leader in AI infrastructure. And I think it's the same playbook that Jamaica and the Caribbean need to take. right? We're small islands, but I think someone said we're little but we're Talawa. The Prime Minister said we have the fastest human being, right? Some people think it's yellow yam, but I differ. But think of a private-public partnership, right? One of the things I tell my clients is your competitive advantage is not your data center. Let me worry about that, right? So if you could get all the public companies or private companies with the government and make a similar Stargate, not just for Jamaica, but for the region, imagine building out data center. I have this idea that says Jamaica need at least 5 data centers, right? That goes left to right. We need connectivity that every rural area should have connectivity. Now you have Starlinks, but as Ricardo rightly said, you need investment. And that is where public-private partnership with vendors such as Cisco, which we have a great partnership with, that will help Jamaica and the Caribbean build out that digital infrastructure. We've seen what Jamaica has done, and I know there's other Caribbean, on road infrastructure, right? 15 years ago, the roads, you didn't have a road from Spanish Town to Ocho Rios. Imagine going on that journey. I happen to live in Dubai in around 2000. And I could tell you, if you go back to Dubai today, they built the city equivalent of Washington, D.C. in 5 years, right? Remember what I said, we're little but we're Talawa. So there's a lot of things we need to do, but I think investment and infrastructure spending is at the heart of it to get us to that digital economy that is going to serve all of us and get to that labor efficiency that the Prime Minister talked about yesterday.
Thank you very much. So I see we're almost at time, and what I'll ask my panelists to do, seeing that there are no questions, I will ask you to just give 2 takeaways that you want to leave with the audience before we go on this topic. I'll start with you, Nelia.
Sure. You know, for me, I think the 2 things that resonates is really investment in human capital. I think that's the forefront of the discussion. I think that when you listen to leaders today, they talk about investing in human capital, but making it happen. And I think building that collaborative effort as a region, you know, we talk about collaboration in various sectors. You know, this morning, listening to my deputy CEO spoke about collaboration from wealth creation, collaboration for digital transformation, investment, infrastructure is how we can build a better Caribbean digital economy. So that's my 2 takeaways.
So human capital and collaboration.
Yes.
Thank you. O'Neill?
I would say culture, to add to what Neela just said. Focus on the culture, changing the mindset. I'm a big growth mindset person. And because, you know, I'm Jamaican through and through, I do have this vision that Jamaica and the wider Caribbean could be the technology beacon, right? We export a lot of talent, right? I'm up here, and I'll tell you, last year I was here, I think 8 times. And the reason is because I believe that the next chapter, as the Prime Minister said, is coming. But we have to focus on the culture, the human capital. And if we double down on that, I think we'll get the growth.
Thank you. And we'll wrap up with you, Ricardo.
I think I'll be doing the community that I represent a disservice if I did not touch on a very important point. In 2022, we became the 100th listed company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, one-on-one, right? And we raised a total of the equivalent, well, 350 million US, 2 million, well, 350 million Jamaican, I wish it was US, $2 million US. But that capital that we raised, we managed to invest in a system that now powers about 3 or 4 Caribbean islands, right? These Caribbean islands, they can log into their system and they can see every metric of their education system. So much so that in Bahamas now, they are using it to assess where there are wastage in the education system and redeploying that waste in other areas. We've totally transformed their economy. The reason why I mention that is very important. You see, if I was not able to raise that capital right here in Jamaica on that exchange, I would not have been able to invest over $200 million in software. I would not have been able to invest in the things that we need to spend on and take risk on that will drive us into the future. The government won't do it alone. We can't even depend on them to do it. We as the private sectors have to do it, but you have to be willing to take the risk. When I came with that software idea to build an online platform powered by AI, a lot of persons says they don't understand it, they don't want to invest. I'm happy to know that we're now moving to taking risk on ideas like these, because this is how we're going to move the country forward. This is how we're going to move the Caribbean forward. And this is how we're going to take advantage of what is to come in the future. So very pleased about that, and that's what I want to leave with. Continue to take the risk that will achieve tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's a good segue to say, you know, this has been an awesome 20th conference for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And the work that you've been doing for businesses like One-on-One is tremendously appreciated. That includes the investors in the stock exchange and everyone that supports it. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you, and thanks to my panel for this awesome discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team, as we allow the photographers to take a picture. Just a quick reminder that after we conclude today, we will continue our building of relationships, friendships, and networking at our signature networking event at Villa Ranai, Stony Hill, and St. Andrew. There will be 3 shuttles leaving from the Pegasus at 6, 6:30, and 7. You get a chance to share some more fellowship, have some drinks, have some food, some music, and also see some premieres of 2 short films made, produced, and situated in Jamaica. So see you later there. All right, the next discussion, we spoke about cybersecurity, we spoke about resilience. We spoke about climate resilience. Now we're going to speak more about resilience after disaster. Session will be led by Mr. Antonio Spence, head of NCB Insurance Agency and fund managers. Please welcome Antonio.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, I know we're getting to that time of the day, but of course, you know, if I was somewhere else, I'd be asking all the participants to give me, 15 or 20 jumping jacks to get the blood flowing, but I won't trouble you with that today, right? Unless you're bad, and then I'll have to. But it certainly is a pleasure to address this audience on a matter that is near and dear to my heart and near and dear to the hearts of the next 4 panelists. Let me just share quick little info with you. In 20 years, between 2000 and 2019, in the Latin America and Caribbean area, there has been 548 floods, 330 hurricanes/storms, 75 earthquakes. The earthquake in Haiti, just across from us, was one of the top 10 worst natural disasters in history. The Caribbean is an area of tremendous instability from weather, climate, natural disaster perspective, and it is also an area of tremendous economic activity and has in itself seen tremendous growth. And so this idea of resilience, emerging resilient from natural disasters, understanding some of the key issues from this perspective is important. And as a result, we have put together, a panel that is going to be able to talk us through some of the key important issues that comes along with the consideration. So let me first ask Mr. Mark Chisholm to come to the stage. Mark is Chief Revenue Officer for Sagicor, a man that has been in the business for more than 30 years, doesn't look a day over 16. Please welcome him. Let me also invite Ms. Shirley Bridgman. She herself has served for more than 30 years in the industry, general insurance specifically, and currently serves as Chief Executive Officer of Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Please welcome her. Our third panelist is Mr. Dean Romani. He currently serves as President of Guardian General Insurance Limited and has more than 35 years experience in the industry and has worked across multiple jurisdictions in the Caribbean. And finally, Ms. Kerry-Ann Chong, who has more than 20 years experience in sales, leadership, strategy. And of course, she currently serves as Director of Sales, Service, and Channel Delivery at Scotia Life. Welcome her. So, Mark, let's start with you. Firstly, tell us a little bit about your company.
Good afternoon, almost close to evening, everyone. Let me be clear, I am representing Mr. Christopher Zaka. So we both took off our overheads and we are with you this evening, so we hope you prepare to hear from these experts. That is not Mr. Zaka, which includes Mark Chisholm. But to be Sagicor Life Jamaica Limited is a company that started in June 1, 1970, which is over 50 years. We're a full-service company, provides life insurance, health insurance, pensions, group life insurance, and general insurance by way of the acquisition of AGIC, Advantage General. So that is what our company is. So we are a wholesome full-service company that provides every aspect of insurance that you call insurance.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mark. So talk us through, what exactly is disaster resilience?
Okay, so one of the things that tend to happen, and it's not just Jamaica, it tends to happen everywhere, where disaster resilience does not happen until after the disaster. So in many respects, if it is how you recover and how quickly and how speedily you can recover from having a disaster, whether it is flood, earthquake, hurricanes, whatever the case may be. But it is becoming, you mentioned it earlier, it is becoming more riskier and riskier with respect to these events that are happening not only in the Caribbean region, but we start to see the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America ending up dealing with some hurricanes that are building up and fueling by even human context. So it is how we provide the kind of resilience. The argument of resilience includes insurance and protecting the assets and the properties that you would like to protect under insurance.
Thank you, Mark. One quick second. The panelists are a little shuffled, so I'd like to ask you to just take the seats behind the respective icons. We have folks here that might have OCD, so I don't want to start them fidgeting. Yes. Now, Dean, I'm sure Mark will say that you sat under a more handsome photo.
Yeah.
But we'll allow that for today. All right. So along that path, and let's jump into the issues with natural disasters, etc. We are seeing what we're seeing in the Caribbean now. We're seeing fires in LA. How are we, or how is insurance, what's the role of insurance under these kind of very challenging and very risky type scenarios with climate change, with weather change, etc.? That's for you, Mark. Yes.
So you shuffle the chairs, I'm still.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so if you look at the argument of insurance and protection of your assets, and let's use an example of what is happening in California. Yeah. Normally, general insurance companies does levels of reinsurance with the general reinsurance, global reinsurance companies. But what we have noticed is that these companies are exiting not only California, but they are looking at exiting the Caribbean. So what that will do, if they can't exit, then what that will do is they will increase their reinsurance premium, which effectively will be passed on to the customers who seek to insure the assets that they have and that they want to protect. So it is becoming more riskier and more riskier to keep the reinsurers engaged.
So on that point, so how is your entity then handling those changing dynamics? So how are you adopting your business model given all of this?
Well, look, at the end of the day, you mentioned the word resilience. We need to become more public and educational by saying to the Jamaican populace, this is how you need to protect your assets. That is one. We were having a discussion earlier about climate change, global warming, and what is happening. And the human element of it, which is utilizing some things, planting trees. How do we protect Jamaica from, because remember, you know, the US new president just removed from the Paris Accord, which means any kind of funding that would normally get to help with respect to protecting the Jamaican environment has changed. So the fact is we have to protect ourselves, and we have to let the country become more aware of how risky it gets for hurricanes, flood, earthquakes, and fires.
All right, thank you, Mark. Shirley, tell us a little bit about your business.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Antonio.
Afternoon.
Caribbean Insurance Brokers, we offer a full suite of insurance solutions. So as Mark said, with his company, any insurance need that you have, we can also find a solution for you. However, we are the intermediaries that sell for Mark and we sell for Dean. We don't sell for Carrie-Ann yet, but soon. So we are the expertise. We know which products are out there, various products from the various companies. So whether it's general, employee benefits, critical illness, travel, health, life, locally, internationally, we know what are the better products to serve your needs for the most affordable prices. So any insurance needs you have, we have a solution for it.
All right, thanks, Shirley. All right, so we're just coming off the discussion with, to extend from the discussion, recovery. A number of both persons, whether they be corporate entities or individual customers, they typically think that they are sufficiently covered, right? And it is at the point of a loss where an insurance company may refute or the only a part payment for cover that an issue comes up. My question for you is, how can people manage around that, mitigate that? How can they ensure that for these assets that are so important, again, both entity-based and personal-based, are properly protected to facilitate that recovery?
Well, Antonio, insurance is really, really simple. It's an easy philosophy. So once you ensure that your asset, your buildings are insured for full replacement value, with homeowners, it can be a minimum of 85%. But if you think about it, when you have a loss, what you want to do is replace the house or your building. You want to replace it. So once you're insuring your sum insured is full replacement value, you will get adequate compensation. Where the challenge comes in, and when there are disasters, we get a lot of claims, and we have to apply, I think it's older than any of us right here, not by anybody right here, but we have to apply average. It is just what it is. The average clause is, and once you are not properly insured, so if you choose to insure for a portion of your full replacement value, then you stand the loss for the portion you did not insure. So a lot of persons will say, but, I insure my house for $10 million, and I got a little flooding and it's $2 million. But me have $10 million insurance. It don't work so. If you had a total loss and the building was valued 10 million, insured for 5, then you would only get back 5 and you would have to stand the other 5. It works the same way with partial losses. So if your building is valued 10, you're insured for 5, and your loss is 2 million, you have to stand the 50% of the 2 million for the loss. So it's really about consumers reading their policy, knowing the clauses, knowing the conditions of insurance policies, and definitely knowing your deductibles.
All right, thanks, Shirley. How do we balance this? I mean, times are tough, and persons and entities are bottom line focused, obviously. So how do we balance this need to insure with affordability?
Wow. Well, I think Mark touched on it. I think you touched on it. There is a lot of stuff going on in the world. And the truth is, in a couple of years, you're going to have less and less insurers because there is only so much that you can't increase the rate enough to catch up with the losses that are being paid, right? We know what's going on in California right now. Persons are backing out of the market in California. So there's no way, rate increases, government regulatory lapses, giving us a little blight, it cannot compensate. So I believe the insurers, I'm the broker, so I'm asking them to, consider some of these things, which I know they have been already. I think they need to consider some things. I know they're already dealing with pricing tools. The probabilistic model of seeing and predicting what's going to come and how they can price for it from now is definitely like trending, and companies are using it more and more. Business intelligence, dashboards to better assess the risk, ensuring that their pricing reflects true exposure. That's what it's going to come down to. It's a matter of once, if they do that, can the customers afford it? And some people, they choose just not to insure. So we're going now to creating, as a broker, other solutions. There are captive insurance. There are other insurances that you can look at. Companies are now offering to subsidize traditional insurance. Parametric insurance is one such. Microinsurance. Persons are saying, look, me take the chance for my house. I can, if hopefully it's not a full loss, but I don't want to take the chance on my cell phone. I want to insure my cell phone, or I want to insure my glasses. So companies are pairing new products along with the traditional products just to help the consumer to can afford and to consider another way of insurance. There is also, I think the panel before me, Nina, she spoke about private-public partnerships. In California, there is the FAIR plan. We all know of the flood plan in Florida that's tax-funded. So at some point in some of our territories, the government may have to step in and we may have to have some partnerships. There are, I kind of thought out of the box that I think Dean is going to find this particularly one interesting. Out of the box thinking, companies like Guardian and Sagicor that are regional, they may have to start pooling their risk regionally so that it's the premiums of the many that pays the claim of the few. But the disasters, the amounts are so exorbitant now, maybe they're going to have to start pooling the premiums of the many regionally to be able to give better rates to the consumers. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Trump is drill, baby, drill. It's continuing. Gas, we don't have enough greenhouses. It's not easy. But what is going to definitely make it work is ultimately the balance between careful planning, both on the insurer's side and the customer's side. The insurance, climate change not going anywhere. Disasters are coming. The insurance price is going to increase. And so we have to properly budget for that. Flexibility, focus on innovation. The sessions today have been about AI, using technology to make admin costs cheaper. So the fact that the rates are going up, the companies will definitely have to find a way to make their internal costs cheaper.
All right, thank you so much, Shirley. That was quite insightful. Moving on to Dean. So Dean, talk to us a little bit about your business, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'm with Guardian General. Guardian General is part of the Guardian Holdings Limited group, which is a subsidiary of NCB Financial Group. And I mean, as you know, NCB, the financial group, is the leading financial group in the Caribbean. Right, I'm looking across there just to correct that point.
Yes.
Involving banking and insurance, wealth management, investment activities, etc., etc. And that was not a paid advertisement. So, all right.
So Dean, we're beelining onto the impact of all of these weather events, etc. So walk us through, what can you put into context the impact of climate change on the Caribbean regarding insurance and reinsurance?
Okay. Climate change, I'll say, poses an existential threat to the Caribbean people, to Caribbean insurers and reinsurers that provide capacity to insurance companies. So reinsurers would be like wholesale insurers, all right? And reinsurers, you know about the LA fires that are happening now. They have the capital base to support Caribbean insurers because they don't have the capital base. Caribbean insurers don't have the capital base to be able to take care of significant losses that happen in the Caribbean. So what is happening with climate change is that, so the seas, they're getting warmer, and as they expand, you find you have higher sea levels. And this then leads to, it's hurricanes, they love the Caribbean because the water is nice and, it's nice and warm. So they come here a lot. And they come with a degree of intensity, so the frequency and intensity has actually increased over the period, which is what we are seeing. So the impact is insurers, because insurers buy, they buy reinsurance, and because reinsurers are affected by all these natural disasters that we're seeing worldwide, you find that that insurers in turn must pass on this cost to insureds. So this is how policyholders are affected. And the significant losses that we're seeing, for example, that the global insured losses for natural catastrophes in 2024 was around $154 billion US, $154 billion. And the 10-year average was around $121 billion. So we're seeing that with respect to economic losses, the economic loss was somewhere around 417 billion. So ask yourself the difference between the 417 billion and the 154 billion, which is 263 billion. What happens with that? So that is where you have an insurance protection gap, which means that when you have a significant loss, who actually pays for that 263 billion? That is where you have governments involved and are very concerned about this gap, this protection gap. And multilaterals, they're also very concerned because, again, when you have a significant loss, if you are not properly insured, then this obviously affects economies in a significant way. So that is, and all that is actually fueled by climate change. So then what you have is, as Shirley mentioned, you have prices increasing. So what is the implication? So people have choices to make. So some people make the choice of, I'm not going to insure at all. So when you don't insure, again, that increases the gap. They don't insure because the prices are quite significant. Individuals make that choice. Companies make that choice sometimes as well. And when you build your asset base, it's a form of wealth protection by taking out insurance. So if you don't insure, then what you're doing is you're putting that asset at risk. And we have seen this happening in a number of territories. The next is that what you do sometimes is you say that, you know, I'm going to take a higher deductible because we haven't seen a hurricane pass through the territory for a while, so I'm going to take a higher deductible. Or I'm going to insure less. And when you insure less, Shirley mentioned before, you know, she gave the example of average. So average applies. So again, when you have average applying, it widens the protection gap. Because again, who takes care of that? You don't have the wealth, or sometimes what you do is you have to actually use the wealth, the asset that you have built, to then take care of this significant loss that happened. All right, so that too is a big issue. The next, in terms of from a protection gap standpoint, is that you have some insurance companies, because the reinsurance costs associated with protecting their balance sheet, because the reinsurance cost is so high, they too sometimes don't buy enough reinsurance. And of course, when they don't buy enough reinsurance, you find there's a significant loss, the companies fold. You know, and that becomes an issue again, because it's what then happens is that governments get involved because they have to take care of that protection gap. So that too is a significant issue. So I would say that the protection gap is widening, and it's a cause of concern to governments, multilaterals, and of course investors.
All right. Thanks, Dean. What's the current state of the property and commercial insurance space in the Caribbean right now?
The first we mentioned is that the state is, obviously it's affected by climate change. So climate change is perhaps the number one item that affects the market. The next is, we mentioned before about cyber security, cyber crimes. Cyber crimes in the coming years it will have trillions of dollars in losses. So that is another big one. And sometimes people, they don't insure against cyber, you know, the cyber threat. So I think that is something that of course companies need to take care of. Shirley would have mentioned the point as well with regard to capacity. Capacity is a huge challenge, which is reinsurers, because you have a high frequency and severity of losses in the Caribbean. What reinsurers say is that we are no longer going to insure in this territory or that territory, or we are not going to provide you with more capacity so you can write more insurances in those territories. And of course, when they pull back, that too is a huge issue. Shirley would have mentioned the point about people's ability to pay premiums, you know, which is another, you know, it's another huge point affecting protection gap and, you know, and stuff like that as well. Capital is another big point, the allocation of capital. So what you have is insurance companies, their shareholders are saying, okay, do I allocate capital to this business or not? And if yes, then I want a return on it that is equal to the risk that I'm taking plus what I could get elsewhere. So you find that that from that standpoint, the allocation of capital for shareholders of insurance companies, and also the allocation of capital to reinsurers, where what they say is, let's not allocate capital to the Caribbean because of the high severity and frequency of losses. So that too is another big issue. In 2024, the reinsurance capital actually is around $700 billion US. You know, and that saw an increase because of, you know, the increase in premiums that we saw worldwide as well. So I think the next challenge that the market faces is, you know, the allocation of capital to hurricane-prone and catastrophe-prone areas. So that I'll say is another big point. Another point will be compliance. You know, we're seeing a lot of regulators paying a lot more attention on a risk-based monitoring mechanism basis. So they're spending a lot more times with insurance companies to say, you know, I want to see how you operate, what you do as a business. Tell me a lot more about, you know, how you allocate your capital by, you know, by line of business and different things they're asking. You know, it's, I think that is, so that comes in for more scrutiny, you know, where the regulators are more focused on, you know, insurance companies. So I think that is, that then leads to the next point, which is an increase in costs. So what you're seeing is that because you have more regulatory constraints, insurers are spending a lot more money on, you know, on how they have to report to regulators. You know, for an IFRS 17 standpoint as well, you find they had to spend more in terms of that changeover. The technology, you know, is another point. Companies are finding that because we have to keep pace with the change in technology, you know, they have to change out on their database and systems and stuff like that as well, which would have been mentioned in some of the previous sessions.
All right, thanks, Dean. Kerry, over to you. Talk us through a little bit about, a little snippet on your business, please.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to those who are streaming online as well. I am from Scotia Insurance. It's a subsidiary of Scotiabank. We love to refer to ourselves as the life of the Scotia Group. And we offer life insurance and critical illness protection, and also retirement planning. And we also underwrite the credit protection business that the retail branch does for mortgages, loans, and credit cards as well. And it would be remiss of me not to really say how well it is that we enjoy working with an amazing group of people who knows that the life insurance industry is a noble one. It allows us to be with our clients in the best of times and also not in the good times.
Thanks, Gary. So in the context of resilience and recovery after disasters, how is your organization leveraging tech to ensure the disaster recovery happens and streamline, you know, the ability for people to be able to, in fact, recover?
Sure. You know, in the last 5 years, we have done quite a bit to leverage technology and meet our clients where they're at. A strategic pillar of ours is actually to make it easy to do business with us. And when you're talking about recovery, you want to ensure that there's convenience there. There is the ease for our clients to have post-sale service and also to have access to our products. So a lot of things we did, like putting more resources to our wealth contact center, so our clients, wherever they are, would be able to call in. We added some more links to our website so they're able to self-serve. Also supported more in terms of our service mailbox. So whatever it is that they want to check on, and you know, after a disaster, persons are more anxious and wanting to ensure that their policies are there. In terms of our sales, we also allowed our clients to do more onboarding online, so they're able to go on and, you know, use the app, Scotia mobile app, and have access to that product that we recently launched as well too. The other thing that we did was to look at our end-to-end claims process, because that's when the rubber really hits the road, right? When it comes on to claims, and we actually digitize that end-to-end. So no longer do our clients need to come into branch to make a claim. They can do that by submitting the documents to us via email, and we process that claim. And I have to make a plug here. Fastest turnaround claim within 24 hours if you give us all the documentation, 48 hours. That's typically for us, because we really want to be there for our clients when it is that they're having, you know, trying times. And one of the things we also did too was just to help with the digital adoption for our clients. So we really spend some time building the culture to help them to adopt to the technology.
Thanks. All right, so we heard a very heavy focus on general earlier. Tell us about the role of the life insurance element in the recovery process.
You know, life insurance plays a very critical role in the recovery. It brings about financial stability and offers support to those clients who are, and the families who are affected. You know, life insurance bypasses the probate process, which can be a very lengthy process. It helps to give lost income, replace lost income. It also helps to give a lump sum at a time when there may be debt to be repaid, there may be the loss of a breadwinner, there may be expenses like for education, and that is a time that you really want to have recovery taking place. For example, in burial, there are lots of persons who would have lost their roofs, especially along the southern side. And so we would have had a lot of persons, you know, writing in, calling in to make encashments from their universal life policies. And so it really gives the opportunity for us to be there in terms of the support and the rebuilding efforts. You know, funds that you would have set aside for, you know, whatever goals you may have, when it is that you have these emergencies, you're able to tap into that as well. Now, it provides a safety net. And again, in any disaster, persons are anxious. Talk about persons calling to just making sure that their policies are up to date and so on. So it provides that psychological support as well to know that you have this protection here with us.
And any new products or services that you want to just kind of share that you guys would have come up with to help customers during particularly tough times?
Sure. So as Shirley said, one of the things you know, expect is increasing pricing and so on. Since COVID, Scotia Insurance did a whole full review of our product suite. We actually tripled, for example, our critical illness maximum coverage. And then we also launched 2 new products, you know, keeping in mind the times that we're in and how it is that we want to help our clients in terms of convenience and getting the coverage. So we would have launched a universal life product, and it doesn't require a medical at all, right? So again, convenience. We would have launched a whole life product that doesn't require a medical nor even a health questionnaire. That one you can simply jump on the app and self-on board. And so we're really making it easy for our clients to do business with us. And our products that we would have launched, we would not have changed the pricing, but we would have looked at, for example, extending the upper age limit for those clients to get the coverage, and also upper age limits for accidental death and dismemberment at the same cost. So we did look at it and how it is we want to ensure that we are running a sustainable business and being there for our clients, especially when it is that we need to help them to recover.
All right, thanks, Kerry. Let me pause here. Do we have any questions that we want to throw at our knowledgeable panel, folks? All right, sounds like not seeing any hands go up, so sounds like we are pretty clear. So just in wrapping up, Shirley, I'm going to ask you, we have many persons here involved in raising and managing assets, billions of dollars of assets right across the Caribbean. What's your one word that you'd like to kind of leave with them as they exit the conference and go back to building their businesses?
I don't have one word, but I want to pick up on something Kerry said. And I think right now, everyone in this room, persons think, oh, a session may not appeal to them or this is not for them. Everyone in this room needs income replacement insurance. If you are the breadwinner of your family, if you are the one that's taking in those assets, if something should happen to you, she spoke about the disasters in burial just the other day. If you are watching your roof go, stress, think about COVID, pandemic. If you go through that, a pandemic, lots of us are just not the same, right? We get, stress give us illness, we get disabled, And if your revenue, everyone in here, you're all corporate persons and breadwinners of your family, if your revenues should go because of disability due to a natural disaster or some other disability by some other means, you want to be ensuring that your income is protected.
All right, thank you, Shirley. Mark, what's your final set of words?
Yeah. So my final statement, I think this panel has covered most of what the audience would want to hear. But my final statement is everyone in this room should understand that at the stroke of a pen, you create an asset. So whether it is your breadwinner, whether it is cyber insurance, whether it is property protected insurance, you can carry those assets, that asset on your balance sheet. So when the time comes, you can claim for it, and it helps to cover all of the legitimate liabilities that come, whether the roof blow off or the breadwinner goes. And most people tend to want to under-insure because they don't look at the value of having the liquidity that you spoke about a little while ago and the family protection when something goes wrong. That's the argument for insurance resilience and recovery.
All right, thank you. And Kerry, your final set of words?
You don't buy life insurance because you're not going to live. You buy life insurance because your loved ones are going to live. And I really want to encourage everyone to just ensure that they have the proper protection and enough coverage as well, because life insurance is still that vehicle that will ensure that you have wealth protection and wealth generation.
All right, thank you. Dean, as a man that has seen it all right across the Caribbean.
Well, I think it's more summarizing, it's a wealth protection and proper protection of the asset that was built, and protecting potential liabilities, which is something sometimes, we don't think of actually. So on the one side is protecting the asset, there's the other side, you could have potential liabilities. And all of these could be insured so that you protect your overall asset accumulation. So I'd say wealth protection would be the big one.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please thank the panel. And of course, continue to enjoy the 20th conference. And of course, Shirley, photo time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Take off these. Thank you very much, team. Income replacement insurance, very interesting. We'd love to hear more about that someday. All right, our next moderator, who will lead the panel discussion, doing business in Cuba. Our moderator is Cadil McNaught Hermit, Manager, Registrar, and Depository Services, Jamaica Central Security Depository. Please welcome Cadil.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh my. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I know that we'll soon be done. Okay? I want to also say good afternoon to those who are listening online. It really is a privilege for me to welcome you to this session on doing business in Cuba. Now, Cuba presents a compelling case for investment and collaboration, offering a mix of opportunities that can enhance regional partnerships and unlock mutual growth. With the strategic location, talented workforce, and evolving investment landscape, the island has garnered increased attention from investors across the Caribbean and beyond. Today, we're going to be delving into the opportunities, challenges, and strategies for doing business in Cuba with insights from two distinguished panelists. Our first panelist, Ms. Cristina Ramos Marino, and she is the General Director of Foreign Investment, Ministry of Foreign Trade Investment, Cuba. Help me welcome her. Our second panelist is Ms. Ana Therese Igarza Martinez, and she is the Director General of Mariel Special Development Zone, Cuba. Please welcome her. And I must tell you that they tried to get me to roll the tongue, but my tongue is very heavy, so please bear with me. Now, together they'll help us to understand how to navigate the unique aspects of Cuba's business environment. We also have with us Mr. Yu Rizan, who is going to be our interpreter for today, and he will be assisting in this session. I encourage you to actively listen and engage, as the session will end with an opportunity to ask your questions. So at this time, I'm going to turn over to these two distinguished ladies. They're going to take us through a presentation, and then I'll come right back to you.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Primeramente,
Firstly,
nos gustaría agradecer
we would like to thank
a la Jamaica Stock Exchange,
to Jamaica Stock Exchange,
particularmente
particularly
a la señora
to Miss
Marlene Street Forest,
Marlene Street Forest
por la invitación
for her invitation
y por darnos la oportunidad
and for give us the
de
opportunity
compartir con todos ustedes
to share with you all
cómo hacer negocios con Cuba.
how to do business with Cuba.
Anoche,
Last night,
en la ceremonia de inauguración de este evento,
at the opening remarks of this event,
escuché una frase:
I heard a phrase,
hacer negocios con Cuba.
doing business with Cuba.
Imaginen eso.
Imagine that.
La buena noticia
The good news is
es que no es producto de una imaginación,
this is not a product of imagination.
es una realidad.
It's a reality.
Hacer negocios con Cuba
Doing
es
business
posible.
with Cuba is possible.
Tenemos una presentación
We have a presentation,
en PowerPoint.
PowerPoint presentation.
¿Está lista? Next, please.
Next.
Si podemos correr. Para darle mayor visibilidad. Sí. En Cuba
In
estamos
Cuba,
preparados,
we are ready
pues desde el propio gobierno
because since the same government,
se asegura una visión de desarrollo económico y social
we assure an economical and social development
con el objetivo
with the objective
de garantizar la inserción internacional,
to guarantee the international insertion,
la diversificación de los vínculos de comercio e inversiones
the diversification of international links,
y al mismo tiempo
and at the same time,
nos mantenemos en un proceso permanente
we are in a permanent process
de perfeccionamiento de la economía
of perfection in the economy
para hacerla cada vez más eficiente
to make it efficient every day
y consolidar los logros sociales,
and to strengthen the social achievements.
con el objetivo de atraer
Back.
con el objetivo de atraer
With the
inversión
objective
extranjera,
to attract foreign investment,
contamos con políticas generales,
we count with general policies,
sectoriales,
sectorial,
un marco regulatorio amplio
a regulatory framework very wide
que ofrece
that offer
garantías e incentivos
guarantees and incentives
a los inversionistas extranjeros.
to foreign investors.
Particularmente,
Particularly,
en el año 2013
in 2013,
se estableció la Zona Especial de Desarrollo Mariel
the Special Development Zone was established in Mariel
como una zona especial
as a special zone
que ofrece aún mayores incentivos para los inversionistas,
that offer a better investment opportunities,
a la cual mi colega Ana Teresa,
in which my colleagues Ana Teresa,
su directora general,
its general director,
se referirá posteriormente.
will refer a little later.
El escenario económico de Cuba
Cuban economical scenario
ofrece importantes oportunidades,
offer important opportunities,
aunque no es un secreto
even though it is not a secret
que nuestro país enfrenta grandes desafíos.
that our country faces enormous challenges.
Bajo estas condiciones,
Under these circumstances,
el gobierno desarrolla un programa de estabilización macroeconómica
the government developed a macroeconomical stabilization program
dirigido al incremento de ingresos provenientes del exterior,
aimed at collecting a foreign revenue,
incremento de las producciones nacionales y su protección,
to boost domestic production and its
el desarrollo del sistema empresarial cubano,
the development of the Cuban national companies,
donde confluyen todos los actores económicos de la nación,
where all actors of the economy are present,
y la reorganización del comercio exterior cubano.
and the reorganization of the foreign affair.
Estas proyecciones generan oportunidades para los inversionistas extranjeros.
These projections present business opportunities for foreign investment.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Los objetivos principales de la inversión extranjera
The main objective of foreign investment
están dirigidos
are directed to
a diversificar y expandir los mercados de exportación
diversificate and expand the export markets,
el acceso a tecnologías novedosas,
access to advanced technology,
facilitar el empleo,
to facilitate employment,
sustituir importaciones,
substitute imports,
obtención de ingresos externos
obtaining foreign financials,
y generar encadenamientos productivos.
and to generate production chains.
En este sentido,
In this sense,
hasta aquí
up to here,
tenemos que existe voluntad política,
we know that there are political wills,
condiciones económicas
economical conditions,
y por tanto pasamos a mostrarles
and for that moment we are going to move on
las atracciones de Cuba como plaza de inversión.
Cuban attractions as a space of investment.
Cuba se encuentra ubicada en la
Cuba
región del Caribe,
is located in the Caribbean region,
lo cual es una posición privilegiada
which is a privileged position
que a partir de la existencia
that from the existence
de puertos,
of ports,
aeropuertos
airports,
y una infraestructura vial y
and
de ferrocarriles
roads and railroads infrastructure
puede facilitar la conexión con los demás países de la región.
it can facilitate the connection with other countries of the region.
Esas son oportunidades que debemos aprovechar todos los países caribeños.
Those are the opportunities that all countries from the Caribbean should take advantage of.
Además muestra
Also, it shows
fuerza de trabajo calificada
a labor of worker, very prepared, qualified workers,
y con un elevado potencial científico
and with a high quality of scientific professionalism
que permite el desarrollo y la innovación.
that allows development and innovation.
Las garantías establecidas en las normas,
Guarantees established under the rules,
régimen especial de tributación,
special tax regime,
estabilidad política, legal y social,
stability of social and political,
y además es signataria
and also it is a signature
de acuerdos bilaterales,
of bilateral agreements
regionales
on the region
y miembro de varias organizaciones
and
mundiales
member
y regionales.
of many world organizations.
La realidad de Cuba hoy
Today's Cuba reality
en materia de inversión extranjera establecida
in the matter of foreign investment established now
nos muestra un escenario
shows a good scenario
que al cierre de 2024
that at the end of 2024
e inicios de este 2025
and the beginning of the 2025,
tenemos presente 359 negocios de inversión extranjera
we have a total of 359 investments, projects, and companies
establecidos en todas las modalidades.
established there in all modalities.
Una parte importante, 53 negocios, están establecidos en la zona de Mariel.
53 of these businesses are established in the special development zone.
Las compañías extranjeras asociadas en estos negocios provienen de más de 40 países.
Foreign companies, they come from a total of 40 countries.
Y los sectores más representativos
And the sectors that are representative
son el turismo,
are tourism,
la industria alimentaria,
food industry,
otras industrias, entre ellas la ligera,
other industries such as manufacture,
la energía,
energy,
entre otros,
and some others.
porque en realidad está presente en casi todos los sectores de la economía.
Because really they are present in all the sectors of the society.
Como parte de las acciones que se desarrollan
As part of the actions that take place
para motivar, acompañar y agilizar los trámites que los inversionistas, no solo extranjeros, sino también cubanos,
to
deben
motivate
realizar,
all the persons interested in investing in Cuba,
desde el año 2020 funciona
since 2020,
la ventanilla única de inversión extranjera.
there is a functioning in the one-stop shop company one-stop shop system
Que acompaña a los inversionistas
that accompany investors
en los procesos
in the different processes
para el establecimiento
to the establishment
y la continuidad de los
and the
negocios
continuity of businesses,
y también
and also
en los intereses potenciales para invertir en Cuba.
in the potential interest to invest in Cuba.
Importante destacar
It is important to highlight
que este sistema
that this system
opera de manera virtual
operates
y presencial.
virtually and face-to-face.
Por tanto,
For that reason,
pueden contactarnos
you can
desde sus
contact us
países.
even from your countries.
Sorry. Además tiene acuerdos firmados
It also has signed agreements
con más de 15 organizaciones o instituciones,
with more than 15 organizations or institutions,
lo que permite concentrar en un solo lugar
which allows to concentrate in one single place
la mayoría de los trámites
the majority of
que
the
hay que realizar durante el
trámites
establecimiento.
that they can carry out to settle down the invest.
En paralelo,
Parallel with this,
se trabaja en la simplificación de los procesos,
it is also been working in the simplifying of the businesses,
disminución de los documentos a presentar,
diminishing of the documents to be presented,
agilización de los trámites,
speeding of different tramits,
descentralización de facultades para aprobar nuevos negocios,
special treatment to those who want to do specific business,
y en el incremento de las acciones de promoción de las oportunidades de negocio.
and the increasing of opportunities and elements that has to do with businesses.
Para ello,
For that,
anualmente
every year,
se actualiza la cartera de oportunidades de negocios con inversión extranjera.
the bank of opportunities for foreign investment is updated,
A la cual pueden acceder también de modo virtual
which can also access virtually
a esa dirección que tenemos aquí
using
atrás.
this website given above.
Esta cartera de oportunidades,
This bank of opportunities,
actualizada recientemente,
updated just right now,
muestra 607 proyectos
shows 607 projects,
variados,
very varied,
ubicados en cualquier región del país
placed in any region of the country,
y que muestra montos de inversiones también variados.
And that shows also an amount of inversion in different numbers.
Grandes montos según el
Big
tamaño de la
amounts
inversión,
according to the
pero también
investment,
pequeños.
or also small.
Pueden ser desarrolladas las inversiones en localidades.
They can be placed in different locations.
Se pueden desarrollar proyectos en diferentes municipios y
You can-
replicarlos por toda la
You can
nación.
develop in different municipalities, or you can place it in different parts of the country.
Principalmente los sectores que están reflejados en esta cartera
Sectors that are mainly represented in this bag of opportunities
abarcan todos los presentes en la economía.
encloses all those that are present in the economy.
Sin embargo,
Meanwhile,
le damos atención priorizada
we pay special attention
a los proyectos
to those projects
vinculados
linked with
a la agricultura,
agriculture,
a la industria alimentaria
food industry,
y a la agroindustria azucarera.
and sugar industry.
Para ello,
For that,
como parte de las acciones que hemos estado realizando para agilizar los procesos,
as part
a
of this measurement, a part of the measurement that we take into account to speed the processes,
hemos incluso diversificado los modelos de proyectos de negocios que se pueden realizar en nuestro país.
we have diversified the different type of projects that we can set up in this
Asimismo,
project, in this location.
estos proyectos, muchos de ellos, pueden ser aprobados por
Most of these
instancias
projects can be approved
a nivel de ministro.
to even ministry level.
Los otros sectores que hemos determinado
Other sectors that we
priorizar
have determined to have as priority
son aquellos
are those
en los que las actividades están vinculadas
in which activities are linked
a proyectos de exportación.
to export projects.
No es un secreto
It is not a secret
que Cuba es un país principalmente importador-exportador
that Cuba is mainly an import
y
country,
es necesario
and it is necessary
incrementar las producciones nacionales
to increase national productions,
con miras a la exportación de bienes y de servicios.
looking at exporting of goods and services.
En ese sentido,
In that sense,
la tarea de nosotros es
Our
incrementar el valor agregado de
today
nuestras exportaciones,
our task today is to add value to our productions,
desarrollar nuevos productos exportables,
develop new export products.
que creo que podemos hacer de conjunto,
I think we can do together,
y diversificar los mercados.
and diversify markets.
Por otra parte,
On the other hand,
el turismo,
tourism,
que estamos enfocados a la diversificación de los servicios turísticos,
that we are focused on the development and diversification of tourism
La-
services,
la administración y comercialización de hoteles,
management and marketing of hotels,
el desarrollo de parques temáticos
the introduction of thematic parks,
y el desarrollo del turismo de salud, de naturaleza y corporativo.
and the development of corporation, nature and health tourism.
Gracias, Cristina.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Y el agradecimiento
And the
a
acknowledgement
la señora Marlene Street Forrest.
to Marlene Streetfold, Miss Marlene Streetfold.
Cuando en septiembre del pasado año, del 2024,
When in September
una
2024,
delegación de Jamaica Stock Exchange
a delegation
visitó la
from
zona
Stock
especial.
Jam in Jamaica visited the Special Development Zone.
Marlene trasladó a nuestro equipo.
Marlene brought to our team.
Esto hay que conocerlo en Jamaica.
This
Esto hay
should
que
be known in
conocerlo en el
Jamaica.
Caribe.
This should be known in the Caribbean area.
Y por eso estamos acá.
And that's why we are here.
Precisamente para exponer a los hermanos del CARICOM
Mainly
cuáles
to
son las potencialidades de
expose
Mariel.
to CARICOM people what is Mariel about.
Mariel se crea en el año 2013.
Mariel was opened in 2013.
Por tanto, al día de hoy contamos con una zona que tiene 11 años de creada.
For that reason, we can say that now we have 11 years of foundation.
A escasos 45 kilómetros de La Habana,
It is very near, up to 45 kilometers from Havana, the capital city,
con una extensión de 465.4 kilómetros cuadrados
with an extension of 465.4 square kilometers
y subdividida en 9 sectores.
and subdivided into 9 sectors.
La zona especial se erige dentro de Cuba
The
como una
special
plaza,
zone is erected in Cuba as a square,
como una plaza atractiva para el establecimiento de la inversión nacional y extranjera.
attractive to bring foreign and national investment in the area.
Insertada en la propia política de inversión extranjera,
Inserted in the foreign investment policy in Cuba,
pero con un marco legal atractivo,
But-
mucho más beneficioso.
but with a legal framework very outstanding.
La zona promueve el establecimiento de negocios para la producción de bienes y servicios
This zone is established to the production of goods and services
que generen valor agregado, utilicen conocimiento
that
e
generate
innovación.
added value and provide
Con el objetivo de sustituir
with
importaciones,
the objective to substitute
generar
imports,
exportaciones
generate exports,
y que se articulen con el resto de la economía
and
interna.
link together with the rest of the inner economy.
Desde nuestra llegada el pasado lunes acá,
Since our arrival last Monday here in Jamaica,
hemos estado reuniéndonos con las autoridades
we have been gathering with different authorities
y hemos visualizado las particularidades que puede tener Mariel para Jamaica,
and we have seen the different opportunities that Mariel can bring to Jamaica,
teniendo en cuenta que ambos cuentan con 2 puertos de aguas profundas que se
having
interconectan
in mind that they have 2 different ports that they are interconnected
con una conexión regular, permanente,
with a regular connection, very
y que
frequent,
existen las posibilidades
and
de
there are
intercambiar
possibilities to interchange
materias primas y productos
raw
terminados entre
material
ambos
and
países.
finished material between the 2 countries.
También existe la posibilidad de suministrar al resto de las islas del
Also, there
Caribe
is a possibility to
que no
support
cuentan
or to provide to the different
con las
countries of
mismas
the Caribbean
extensiones
that doesn't have the same connections
territoriales que
and the
nosotros.
same geography like we have.
La zona tiene 4 atractivos fundamentales que son para nosotros las
The zone
principales,
have 4 attractive main areas, which are for us the most
las principales herramientas para la atracción de los
tools
inversionistas.
for foreign investors.
En primer lugar, sus infraestructuras de alto estándar,
First, high standard infrastructure,
desarrolladas totalmente por el Estado cubano
developed totally by the Cuban government,
y que ponen a disposición del inversionista
And they
un
put-
área urbanizada
and they put to the foreign investors a very wide urbanized area
con suministro con acceso vial, ferroviario,
with railroad roads and
suministro de agua,
water
electricidad,
supplies, electricity supplies,
comunicaciones y tratamiento de residuales.
communication and residual treatment.
Asimismo, garantiza un conjunto de servicios para
Likewise,
acercarlos al inversor.
Offer a different services to make it shorter to the investors.
En segundo lugar,
Secondly,
los regímenes fiscales y
Tax
financieros
incentive.
aplicables.
fiscal incentive and financial regime
Los-
applied.
Los inversores que se establecen en la zona especial
Investors that are settled up in this zone,
operan de manera permanente
they
en
operate
divisas
permanently with currency
y tienen la posibilidad, la libre disposición de estos activos para transferirlos al exterior
and they have the possibility
ningún
to
gravamen.
use this in the capital and to send in the foreign countries.
En materia tributaria,
According to taxes,
no aplican los impuestos por la repatriación del
they
capital,
do not apply taxes for capital repatriation,
no se cobran impuestos por la utilización de la fuerza de trabajo,
no tax for the use of the labor force,
tampoco contribución al desarrollo local
no contribution to local development,
y están exentos de los impuestos por la importación de medios y equipos para la inversión.
and they are exempt to the import of the investment processes.
El impuesto sobre las utilidades,
Utilities tax,
que es el mayor impuesto que se paga en Cuba,
which is the bigger one that is paid in Cuba,
tiene 10 años de exoneración
has 10 exoneration years,
a partir del inicio de sus operaciones.
departing from the very moment that the operation starts.
Posteriormente, pagan un 12%.
Afterwards, they will pay only the 12%.
Por último,
Lastly,
otro de los atractivos que ofrecemos
another attractive that we offer
es el trato personalizado y particularizado a los
is the
inversionistas
particular and personal treatment to investors
por un conjunto de especialistas propios de la oficina que
By-
administra la zona
by a group of people that manage in the zone
y de los organismos del gobierno
and the different
que acompañan
government
los procesos.
institutions that accompany all those processes.
Este sistema,
This system,
además de encargarse de la tramitación de todas las licencias, permisos y autorizaciones,
apart from working with investment permissions and license,
se ocupa de dar un trato particular y diferenciado a cada inversor,
use a particular treatment and personalized treatment to all investors
confeccionando un traje a la medida para su negocio.
by creating a personal suit for its business.
La zona especial también se distingue
Special Development Zone is distinguished by
no importa. Miren a ver si lo pueden pasar. Next, the next. No funciona. Next. Next slide. La zona especial también se distingue
the
por
zone is also distinguished by
desarrollar un entorno amigable con el medio ambiente.
developing an amicable environment,
La captación de la fuerza laboral
the hiring of the labor force,
y el desarrollo profesional de esta fuerza
and the professional development of this force
se garantiza a través de 5 entidades empleadoras
is guaranteed by 5 employers units
que se ocupan de la captación, selección y capacitación del personal.
that they are intended to hire, prepare, and put in place this labor
Es-
force.
Esta fuerza laboral
This labor force
proviene fundamentalmente de la provincia Artemisa,
comes from Artemisa province
con una población de más de 500.000 habitantes
with a population of more than 500,000
y el
people
30%
and the 30%
de la capital.
of the capital city.
En adición,
In addition to it,
y en cumplimiento de los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible,
and in fulfillment of the sustainable objective,
la zona desarrolla
the special zone in Mariel,
espacios habitacionales,
space, room for space,
actualmente con 651 viviendas,
nowadays count on 651
donde
houses
residen los principales,
where
los trabajadores de mayor importancia o relevancia a la zona
where the
especial,
most relevant workers live in,
con el objetivo de acercar
with the objective to make it near
su vivienda
the living house
a la actividad laboral.
to the labor activity.
Por último, también
Lastly, as well,
desarrollamos
we developed
energías renovables.
renewable energy.
La zona cuenta actualmente
The zone count with
con 89 megawatts de potencia instalada,
89 megawatts of power generated,
tanto desde tierra como encima de cubiertas,
both from ground or up to the roof.
y garantiza
And it guarantees
la operación de la zona durante el día,
the operation of the sun during the day.
al tiempo que suministra
At the same
aproximadamente el 90%
It supplied 90% of the energy
a la red eléctrica nacional.
to the national electric supply.
La zona especial
The special zone
puede ser un excelente hub logístico.
can be an excellent logistic hub.
Su privilegiada posición geográfica,
Its privileged location in the Caribbean,
así como su prestigio a nivel internacional,
so as it's prestigious in the international arena,
como parte de las relaciones que nuestro país establece con más de 190 países alrededor del mundo,
as part of the relation that our country has with 190 countries around the world,
garantizan que los inversores puedan beneficiarse de los regímenes, de los acuerdos de alcance parcial suscritos.
it guarantees that all investors can make use of the different agreements that Cuba is part of.
Somos socios fundador del GATT, que
We
devino
are-
posteriormente la Organización Mundial del Comercio,
We are founder of the GATT and the World Trade Organization,
y miembros de esta desde
A member of the-
1995.
a member of it since 1995.
Igualmente, somos miembros de la LADI
We are also members of ALARI,
y tenemos acuerdos de alcance regional con el
and we have
CARICOM
regional
el
agreements
Mercosur,
with CARICOM, Mercosur,
y acuerdos de alcance parcial
and
con estas
partial agreement with
instituciones.
these institutions.
Nuestra terminal de contenedores está
Our
lista para
port
recibir
terminal is ready to receive
buques New Panamax
big vessels, Panamax big vessels,
con un calado de 17,9 metros
with a depth of
de profundidad
17.7
en el canal de
meters
acceso
in the channel of access,
y una operación
and
de
an
más de
operation
800,000 contenedores
of
anuales.
more than 800,000 operations in the port.
Actualmente contamos con más de 60 negocios establecidos,
Nowadays, we have
53,
more than 60 businesses established there.
de ellos 53 de inversión extranjera.
53 out of them
Están
are
presentes
foreign
en la
affairs.
zona, están presentes en la
They
zona
are present in
21
the zone,
países y
31
11
countries.
multinacionales,
and 11 multinational,
y mantenemos actualizada la cartera de oportunidades
and we keep the back of opportunities updated
para atraer los negocios
to
de
bring
interés.
businesses of interest.
No obstante, esta cartera no es
Thus, this back
la única posibilidad
is
de
not the only
inversión.
possibility of investment.
Siempre estamos abiertos a
We are
las
always open to
posibilidades
different possibilities
y propuestas de los inversores
and proposal of investors
con el objetivo de lograr
with the objective to reach
los objetivos comunes.
the common objectives.
Estos son los elementos fundamentales de la zona especial
These are the main elements of the special zone
y de la inversión extranjera en Cuba,
and the foreign investment in Cuba.
y en lo que se nos puedan formular preguntas vamos a
And
estar
any question that can be
viendo
asked
imágenes
about this, we can observe different images
de la zona y de la
of the
inversión
zone
en el país.
and the investment in the country.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramos and Ms. Martinez. Do we have time for just one question? Any burning question? Yes, yes, Andre.
Just one day. I know in late October, November, you had some damage from the hurricane. Can you say what the status of the country is now as a result of the effects of the hurricane?
Déjame pararme para poderle mirar al rostro y responder.
Let me stand so I can look at your face.
Realmente el país sufrió en menos de 15 días 3 eventos climatológicos extremos.
Our country suffered within 15 days 3 different extreme weather effects.
Huracán Oscar en Guantánamo,
Oscar Hurricane in Guantanamo,
el huracán Rafael en el occidente,
Rafael Hurricane in the western part,
y que la zona especial estuvo en el ojo del huracán,
and the zone was in the middle of the hurricane.
y luego el terremoto en
And after
la
that, the
zona de
earthquake
Granma
in Granma region
y Santiago de Cuba.
and Santiago de Cuba.
Cuba tiene una característica y el cubano también.
Cuba has a characteristic and its people as well.
Somos muy resilientes.
We are very resilient.
Y no quiere decir que todo esté solucionado.
And it doesn't mean that everything is or has a solution.
Pero hemos ido buscando soluciones a todos y hoy la
But we
zona
have found a
especial,
solution for everything, and now the special development zone,
a 3 meses del evento,
apart 3 months apart from the event,
tiene el 100% de sus industrias operando.
it has the 100% of the industries are operating.
Al día siguiente las imágenes eran devastadoras,
At the next day of the environment, images were devastating.
pero entre el equipo de la oficina
But between the equipment of
El
the offices,
gobierno,
the government,
y los propios empresarios,
and investors itself,
levantamos la zona especial.
we raised the zone
Y
again.
así mismo está sucediendo en el resto del país.
And so it is happening in the different parts of the country.
Aprovecho también
I want to
para
say as well,
agradecer
to thank you,
muestras de afecto
your
desde
shows of
el
affection
pueblo jamaiquino,
from Jamaican people,
desde los empresarios que han
From
aportado al restablecimiento del país
up to the reestablishment of the country
en situaciones además bien complejas.
in very different complex situations.
No lo hemos resuelto todo,
We have not solved everything,
pero estamos dando la pelea.
but we are fighting, still fighting.
Thank you so much. So just to wrap up, I see Andre is coming up. What have we learned? We have learned about the opportunities that are there, benefits that are there for regional, in Cuba, for regional investors. We have learned about the Mariel Special Development Zone and the opportunities that it offers for Caribbean territories and for and beyond. We have also heard about those hurdles that the ministry has moved so that, investing is more attractive and easier for the prospective investors. And so I say, in closing again, it is clear that Cuba offers significant opportunities for those who are willing to invest. I hope that this discussion has inspired you to think about these possibilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kadil. Thank you, panel. Just to say that I was in Cuba in September, October, just before the hurricane. And since then, we have seen what serious damage took place in the new Mariel Special Zone. And so much so that the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange actually mounted a project to assist our brothers and sisters in Cuba to restore themselves to their some level of comfort. So the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is accepting, through our website, pledges to assist our neighbors to restore themselves. There will be a document sent to your phones and on the table shortly, which will allow you to pledge and to support the project. On JSEJA.com, you'll be able to assist our neighbors to rise again from this disaster. We have already received support from the Massey Group assisting in this cause, and there are several other listed companies who have already indicated interest in supporting Cuba. So the pledge forms will be on your desk shortly, and we ask you to consider supporting our neighbors. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kadil, again. Now, future businesses. Just before, our colleague Andrew Pierman is going to join us for 2-3 minutes, Andrew? 2 minutes, he says, to make a special announcement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. I know we're coming close to wrap up. This is just going to take a second. Before, we're going to ask Dr. Marlene Street Forrest to come forward for a second, but just to let you know, we had a raffle today. We're going to have it again tomorrow. It's a technology package. It has a desk lamp, LED lamp. It has a 30-watt milliamp battery backup. So good for hurricanes. That will last you like 10 days. Hurricane camping lamp, a cooling fan, car charger, house charger, phone cables, flashlight, and we draw again tomorrow. We have a winner. Could you please welcome Sequoia Thomas, Caribbean Assurance. Our General Manager, Mark, will present it. Oh, I'm glad she's here. And by the way, for tomorrow, I still want you to be here, but you don't have to win. Once you scan, the form is on the table. We will get your gift to you. So I'll just ask our General Manager, Mark Robinson, to make the presentation to Sequoia Thomas from the Caribbean Assurance Company. Thank you. All right. Now, everybody, remember, we are here for a purpose. It's about financial literacy, but we are here to network. And I'm thrilled to share with you an exciting gift from Intelligent Multimedia. And this is available to everyone that attended or are attending the conference today. It's a free platinum PVC LinkedIn card. So in today's professional world, networking is more than just exchanging contact details. It's about building relationships, creating opportunities, and staying connected to people who can inspire, collaborate with you, and grow. So this card is designed to make networking seamlessly. So say you meet someone, you pull it out of your wallet or your purse, and you just invite them to scan this platinum card. So it's very easy. We will be handing out some sign-up forms. You just fill out the QR code, and we will have them produced today, and you'll be able to get them tomorrow. But we have the very first Platinum LinkedIn Network card to present to Dr. Mariel Street Forest. Could you please come and get the first ever LinkedIn Platinum card? And this is going to be presented by Mr. William Pearman, my son and future director of Intelligent Multimedia Limited. Thank you very much, everyone. Remember, fill out for the drawing tomorrow. You could win tomorrow's package. And we look forward to to the next presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Andrew. Unique way to keep your contacts. Now, we're going on to the Venture Capital Pitch Room, where we'll hear some presentations from some young entrepreneurs, and somebody will walk away with a cash prize. I'm now inviting Carl Townsend from JMMB. Carl is the Chief Country Officer for Capital Markets, JMMB Group, who will lead us through this final session for the day. And thereafter, we will get ready to go to the networking session up at Villa Ronai. Buses leave at 6, 6:30, and 7. And that will be a night of fashion, fellowship, music, and culture. See you all later. Food and drinks, yes.
Good evening, everyone. Wake up, wake up. It's the very last session. It's probably the most exciting, right? This is the Venture Capital Pitch Room. My name is Carl Townsend. I'm not seeing our judges, so let me invite our judges on stage. I hope they're here. Miss Natalie Rose Doyen, Miss Janine Fletcher Taylor, and Mr. Kevin McIntosh. Well, I see Kevin, and I see Janine, and here comes Natalie. All right. Yes. All right, so while the judges are coming on stage, let me just do So let me just do a quick introduction and a abridged version of the bios. The full bios, of course, are on the stock exchange website. So Miss Natalie Rose Doyen is the technical coordinator, Intermediary Services Unit. She's a part of the DBJ's team charged with energizing innovation-based entrepreneur ecosystem in Jamaica. As a technical coordinator for intermediary relationships, under the Boosting Innovation for Growth in Entrepreneurial Ecosystems, BG program, she leads a small team executing programs that are increasing the number of high-potential startups and spurring their growth, improving business incubators and accelerators, setting up a nationwide technology commercialization program, and establishing new funding options for tech-based startups, including an angel investment sidecar fund and a VC fund. She has expertise in market development, marketing strategy, market intelligence, business accounting, finance, and marketing, and has leveraged her knowledge and experience to guide and help tech and non-tech startups with investment and grant funding for more than 15 years. She spent close to 5 years working within the Technology Commercialization Services Department at the University of Connecticut, where she helped life and physical sciences faculty to move their discoveries towards commercialization. She has an MBA in management with a focus on small venture development and strategy, and an MA in communication focusing on data analysis and market intelligence. A former journalist, she gained her bachelor's degree in communication from the UA, graduating with honors from CARIMAC, which is the Caribbean Institute for Media and Communication. So give her a round of applause. Give the woman a round of applause. Sure. All right, wonderful. Miss Janine Fletcher-Taylor is a marketing and business development and innovation expert. She's an accomplished professional with 32 years of experience driving business growth, entrepreneurship, and market development for MSMEs. She has a proven track record in strategic planning, project management, and stakeholder engagement. Her experience spans both public and private sector firms such as Grace Kennedy Export Trading Limited, Business Management Limited, and the Things Jamaican Retail Chain and Marketing Services Unit of the Jamaica Business Development Program. She holds an MSc in Psychology, an MA in Arts and Culture Management, and a postgraduate degree in Poverty Alleviation and International Development. She also has undergraduate studies in Finance and Accounting and Business Administration with a major in Marketing. She's at the MCIM level of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, Growth Wheel Business Development Advisor, and SBDC Business Coach. She's a member of the Technical Working Group of the National Cultural and Creative Industries, the Technical Working Group of the National Poverty Reduction Program Committee, the Technical Working Group on the Tourism Linkages Network, and also a member of the Technical Working Group for the National Craft Policy, Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. And she's dedicated to empowering MSMEs, fostering entrepreneurship, and promoting economic growth. Please make her feel welcome with a round of applause. Thank you very, very much. Mr. Kevin McIntosh is an assurance and advisor partner and founder and managing director of Signature Creed and Associates and Creed Financial Consultancy Limited. Kevin is a seasoned financial professional with extensive experience in audit, advisory, private equity, and financial consulting. He's assurance and advisory partner at Signature Creed, and as we said before, managing director of Creed Financial Consultancy, where he specializes in delivering tailored financial strategies, compliance solutions, and operational efficiencies for clients across various industries. Kevin's career includes key leadership roles at KPMG in Jamaica, where he managed audits for asset management companies such as, and as Group CFO at the Equity Capital Management Limited, we directed financial strategy and governance for private equity portfolios. His expertise spans financial reporting, strategic planning, capital raising, and mergers and acquisitions. Kevin holds a BSc in Management Studies with an accounting major from the University of the West Indies, Mona, and he's a registered public accountant and a member of the Public Accountancy Board of Jamaica, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica, and the Guam Board of Accountancy. He has a strong commitment to lifelong learning and professional excellence and continues to shape the financial landscape in Jamaica and the broader Caribbean. Can we please make him feel welcome? All right, thank you very much. So, today in the Venture Capital pitch room, we have 4 finalists. My understanding is that there are a number of finalists, and they went through some previous rounds, and it was narrowed down to 4 finalists. And each finalist is going to have 6 minutes to make their pitch, and the judges may or may not have 1 or 2 questions for them, and the audience can ask 1 or 2 questions, and at the end of it, it will be scored, and the winner will be announced, and that winner will get a nice check, and the runners-up will also get some prizes. So, just to say the order in which the participants are going to go. So the first one up will be Cleared ID, and that will be led by the founder, Mr. Desmond Campbell. After Cleared ID, we will have Wom Rides, led by Miss Carrie Stewart, who's the founder, and then Chofa Express, led by Mr. Jamie Hall, who is the CEO, and then last but not least, by no means, Chatflow Limited, led by Mr. Michael Mullins, the founder and CEO. So without further ado, I'm asking Mr. Desmond Campbell, come up and make your pitch, sir, and you have 6 minutes to impress the judges and the audience. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good evening. I'm going to start off with something painful, but rest assured, myself and 3 other winning entrepreneurs, we're going to make your evening. Ladies and gentlemen, that pain I speak about is what you feel when you give somebody something valuable, expecting to get a product or a service that you bought, or you feel like you just made a great sale, only to find out that you've just been scammed. There are a lot of scams in Jamaica. We're talking about the real estate scams, the job scams, agencies saying that they can help you to get a visa. And what we found is that there's one key factor that is driving the success rate of these scams, and that is insufficient verification. Let's say you're on TikTok, Instagram, you're seeking furniture, and you see a very glamorous page, 500,000 followers, and you even see a blue tick. But you're still wondering to yourself, is this company real? Has anyone heard of identity theft? Of course. A bank issued a credit card to someone, a customer, who walked with a real ID. 2 years later, the bank learned that that person, the person who owned the ID, was dead 2 years ago. A classic example of identity theft. But let's face it, that could have been avoided with sufficient verification. So you ask yourself, why are they not verifying? Well, we do not know that verification is complex. It's costly. Every company has their own verification processes and tools, so it's all over the place. And we know that the fraudsters out there, they're brilliant. I'm a victim, but I'm also a founder of a solution. I had a very frightening experience with a scammer. Luckily for me, I didn't give them my money, amen to that. But they have my ID. They have my bank statement, my pay slips, some really sensitive information on me, and I feel really exposed. When I look at the relationships between customer and business, especially online businesses, I tend to not see like a fortress of trust between them. So my company, Cleared, was founded create that trust anchor between the customer and the business. The customer is now able to verify the company before they give money to them, and the business can also verify the customer. When we do that, we create a very trustful ecosystem. I know you've had a long day, but if there's one thing that I want you to walk away with today, is I want you to start looking out for this trust symbol, this blue and green icon on your screen, the cleared icon. When you see it on classified ads websites, on the real estate or auto listings website, I want you to understand that that means we've checked and verified the person or entity behind this. I want you to start trusting the cleared icon and not the blue icon, not the blue tick on social media, because anybody can buy a blue tick. I'm going to take you through 2 examples. So let's say Seven Crave, a very popular food delivery company in Jamaica, is hiring a rider. His name is David. But you know, David is going to take that 3-piece meal to your gate. So we need to check him out. We need to ensure that he's clean and cleared. So that process starts with 7Crave making a request to David. David wants a job, so he accepts the request, and he's taken through a full suite of verification. Identity, we check his address, we talk to the references, and we do like a criminal background check. Once that is done, our AI systems get to work, process it, and we get a result, and then David shares this with 7Crave. He gets the job, tomorrow, him ride up on him bike, deliver the food and everything in there, because he was a good hire. Another example, let's say Keisha is looking for a makeup artist on IG, on Instagram. Because Keisha does not want to be scammed, the first thing that she does, she checks our platform to see if that page is legit. She found that it's on a watch list, so she decides to run. She has to find one that is verified. Now, our market is huge. We have, in USD, almost $11 million. Globally, it's 16 billion, and that's tracking to reach 50 billion by 2030. I hope you're enjoying this, because we're going to need your help. We're trying to clear 100,000 Jamaicans this year. How you can help? You can enroll your company uncleared, get your customers and your employees background checked and cleared. If you have a company, if you have an online store, you can verify that store and start looking out for customers who get cleared and share a certificate with you. Alternatively, you can take up our equity offer. We're seeking $350,000 US at 14% of our company. With that money, we're going to boost our marketing, improve our technology, and also secure certifications for the company. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our contact information is on the screen. If you want to help us with the 100,000 goal, you can scan the QR and start getting cleared. Thank you.
Taking questions, Carl?
Yes, I'm going to just check with the audience. Is there any question from the judges, first and foremost?
Good afternoon. Could you just go back to your market valuation that you shared and explain how did you come by that figure and what's your pricing like? Because I'm trying to map the two.
Okay. All right, so this is data that was available as at September 2024. What we did, because digital authentication and verification is a market that's growing, what we did, we looked at some verified market reports, and we saw where we had to extrapolate from the global and regional numbers and kind of used the local population to extrapolate what the Jamaican numbers would be. But in terms of pricing, we do have packages, so full background check, including identity, address, references. We do like criminal records. That would cost $50 US. However, the first time someone does it, they pay that full price. Can be paid by the client or the customer, or it can be split. And then the second time they do it, they don't have to go through the full process again, so there's a reduced cost to share that a second time and a third time, as long as it remains valid.
So have you experienced validation in that persons have paid for the service and expressed a willingness to pay for that?
Yes.
Or is that assumption?
Yes, so they compare it with the existing process. The existing process of obtaining a background check and criminal records, where you take a full day from work and then you have to wait for it. Plus, the information that we get is a lot more than what is provided through the traditional means. Yes.
One of my questions is, currently background checks are done by most security companies, which covers about 35,000 per person. How are you competing with that market?
Okay, so one thing you have to look at is the fact that the background check being done by the security company, they're selling it to you on a retail basis. So we have the power, let's say we're using a security company, we would have the power to negotiate like a bulk fee with them, because we will bring the numbers and help them with volume, so we can get a much reduced rate.
And then you're coming at 350,000 at 14%.
Yes.
That is based on what exactly? You have historical sales, or what are you projected for this year?
All right, so it's based on previous investments, market size, and deals.
So there are no sales thus far?
No, no sales.
When are you expected to start selling?
This month. We have leads for sales this month.
What's the projection for the year?
For the year? All right, so for the year, we have about, we're trying to get to 500,000 US annual recurring revenue by 2026. So we're tracking about maybe 40% of that this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have two questions. You mentioned that the AI is going to do some checks and so on.
Right.
If I'm a prospective customer, what assurance do I have that having paid you this amount of money, that what I get is going to be as robust as the current city, even if it means going to do checks at the police records office, etc.?
Okay, so when we engage a client, or when a client, the company engages us for the background checks, we give them full details on the processes that we use, the checklists that we use. The only thing that we don't give them is the actual sources that we use. So they get a full gamut of what exactly they should expect. And they do it in the platform, they can see the reports in the platform. So they can see the structure of the reports, what would be there if the person had something on their record, so they know the format and everything, so they know.
Okay. Competition, I didn't get a clear picture of what do you see as the current competition in the market.
Yes, okay. All right. So we are competing with international identity verification platforms. The one huge differentiation for us is that when we verify someone, the relationship is between us and that person. When other companies verify people, the relationship is with the business. What that means is that if today you get cleared by us, tomorrow you don't need to go through that process again. So if in the example with 7 Crave, David got his clearance, got the job, tomorrow he goes to the bank, why on earth would we want David to then go through another set of verifications? He can now share those details with the bank.
Okay, but what if between today and tomorrow David went out and shot somebody?
Right, so in all practical senses, we're not going to be able to catch live results like that unless the information gets to like maybe the stations that we're connected to, like in real time.
Okay, so you talked about competitors, international competitors, but what about within the local space? Are you saying you're the only company that does this?
Yeah, all right, so locally, we don't have a company locally that does digital identity verification and the full gamut.
So when are you expected to expand to the region? Because there are current competitors in the region
exactly,
who might be actually looking to relocate here.
Yes. All right, so we're trying to get to the 100,000 by end of year. That goal is to get us a strong footing in the market. And then by then, because we have the differentiators, because we have access to a lot of data, that will give us some strength to stand firm here, and then even go into the other markets where our competitors are, but offering a different set or less than what we're offering.
Okay, just one other quick
Sorry,
question.
sorry, judges. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
So we have to move to the next person. So thank you very much. There was one question from the audience. I'll take a quick question.
So you said the blue tick can be replicated. What prevents somebody from scamming and replicating your green and white tick?
Yeah, okay, good question. So what we do is the difference between what we present on a public page and what Twitter would have on their page is that our page can show a certificate. So remember that for you to get a blue tick, you'd have to onboard. So we let you know from day one how you can check to see if this is valid. So you look at a blue tick on Twitter or an X, you can't do anything. You just see a caption that says verified. For ours, it actually shows information on our website for that person. Yes.
One more. You verify vendors.
Do we?
You verify vendors. You verify, persons on social media who are selling goods and services. But who verifies you? How do we verify you?
I didn't get the last part.
How are you? What is your footprint? How do we verify you?
All right, so we're a new company. What we're doing now is building our brand. So, of course, it will take some time for us to reach that target brand reputation that we need. But for now, what we do is, like on our website, we're very transparent with our associations, details about the company, and really everything that we do, so people can understand like exactly what we're about and our presence, and trust our presence.
All right. Thank you very much, David. Desmond Campbell, sorry. Give him a big round of applause. And I now invite Ms. Carice Stewart, founder of Wom Rides, to take the stage and make her presentation. Remember, you have 6 minutes.
I want you to imagine this. A young woman you know hails a taxi for what should have been a routine ride to work. Hours pass, and then days, and she's never heard from again. You're desperately trying to reach her, but the silence is deafening. And then you get that dreadful call. It's everybody's worst nightmare. This is the daily fare of many women and girls in Jamaica. My name is Carice Stewart, and I am the founder of Wom Rides. But this is not the only name that I want you to remember today. Kanice Jackson, Jasmine Dean, Danielle Anglin. These are the names of some of the women whose lives were tragically cut short while relying on the very transportation options that they were supposed to trust. Here's the harsh reality. Studies have shown that over 65% of women in Jamaica reported feeling unsafe using the current ride-sharing and transportation options available to them. A recent Undy study revealed that in the US, Lyft alone reported 4,158 cases of sexual assault between 2017 to 2019. Uber reported 3,824 of the more serious cases. And guess what? 81% of those cases were women. These are not just statistics. It's the story of over 1.4 million women in Jamaica. And I'm not saying that I'm here to save the world, but what I'm saying is that Wom Rides has created a solution for this. Ladies and gentlemen, Wom is here for you. Wom Rides is Jamaica's very first women-only ride-sharing platform designed to prioritize safety, comfort, and empowerment. Here's how it works. Our investors connect with us to register their vehicles. Wom matches the investor vehicles with our carefully vetted female drivers, and our mobile app does the rest by connecting female passengers to their journey. We offer diverse ride options for point-to-point travel, including premium rides for special occasions and even carpooling for women commuting along similar routes. Statistics reveal that over 50% of single-parent households in Jamaica are female-headed. So, of course, we wanted to include something for the single mothers. We offer daily drop-offs for school-aged children up to 5th form, but here's a pleasant surprise. That's regardless of the gender. Ladies and children, Wom is here for you. Our
user-friendly mobile app is the backbone of our operations. Offering real-time GPS tracking, this allows our passengers and their selected emergency contacts to monitor their ride for added safety and peace of mind. In emergencies, our room riders can press the panic button to alert our private security partner, which immediately dispatches a response unit and contacts the rider's pre-selected emergency contacts. Who else is offering live ride sharing? Is that crickets? Oh, I thought so. Our passengers can share their live location and ride details with trusted contacts, ensuring someone always knows where they are. Every woman is unique, and so is her journey. Our women have the option of customizing her ride preferences through our premium service. Whether it's a need for child safety seats or wheelchair access, ladies, Wom is here for you. Wom Rides is designed to serve a diverse group of safety-conscious women. The busy mother, the young professional, the college student, the female tourist, or maybe you're a man who doesn't want to constantly be worried about your mother or your sister or your daughter when she's headed to work or school. Ladies and gentlemen, Wom Rides is here for you. The ride-sharing market in Jamaica is projected to grow to $11 million by the year 2029, and Wom Rides is perfectly positioned to tap into this growth. To ensure Wom Rides launch successfully, we are starting in Jamaica's most high-demand urban areas, Kingston and St. Andrew, Portmore, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios. These urban centers represent areas where women consistently face transportation challenges, making them the perfect starting point for our launch. Here's what makes Wom Rides stand out: our women-only model, our emphasis on safety technology, our tailored services, and our focus on empowerment. Our pricing is quite transparent and accessible. We have 3 very simple tiers: our standard package for our occasional user, our subscription package for our more frequent user, and our premium package for the woman who wants to add a bit more comfort to her journey. Today, we are seeking $100,000 for 13.7% equity to help with our startup and scaling costs. This will help us to finalize our app development, champion our marketing campaign, and lead us on our operational setup. It will also help us to scale our operations for the next 6 to 12 months. Your investments will help us to transform transportation for women in Jamaica and create a scalable model for our region. Wom Rides is more than just a service. It's a trusted community, a movement to ensure that women can travel freely and confidently while creating opportunities for women to thrive in an entirely new industry. So, if you or anyone that you know wants to join us in redefining transportation for women in Jamaica and the world, contact us through the numbers on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, Wom Rides is here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carice. Judges, any questions?
Just to clarify, on the pricing model, it's pay as you go plus a subscription fee?
So, we have three models, 3 packages. The first one is the standard, and that's pay as you go. So, for the I don't want to fall off the stage. Right, so the standard package is pay as you go, and that's for our general riders who don't necessarily need the service every day. It's just an occasional service for them. And then we have our subscription package, where you pay a base of $500 $3 per month, and you get access to our preferential treatment. So with that, you are actually assigned, or you're required to pay the regular rates after that. So the subscription only allows you for preferential treatment. And then the premium service now is what would allow you to access or comfort rides or anything else. So you pay the subscription fee, and then you would be required to pay an additional premium fee for the premium services.
Okay, okay. And you're saying that you're seeking $100,000 for startup costs?
For startup and scaling within the first 6 to 12 months.
And what would be the return on that 100 for say 3 years?
So for the first year, we are going to be making a revenue of 100,000 US dollars, and by the third year, we should be at 150,000 US dollars. So the returns on that is the calculations of whatever 13.7%.
That's fine, that's fine. All right, you can go ahead.
You're offering safety and customer profile for women, but I didn't hear much on your drivers and the other risk involved. I did hear the security partners, so tell me a little bit about how that works and how you filter your drivers, because that's your proposition.
Right, and thank you for that question. At our core, safety is the most important thing. And one of the things that we notice with our competitors is that they don't do very thorough background checks. That's the thing, that's what's the talk in the market, and that's something that we don't want to be guilty of. And so we ensure that our drivers are properly vetted, clearly vetted with background checks, with checking their driving histories, their police records, and also ensuring that we are providing them with ongoing safety training as well to ensure that our women are safe while they're being transported.
Does the security partnerships that you have incorporate, like cameras in motion while they're traveling or anything like that?
That would be a requirement for vehicles that are within the company. The thing is, we are not the ones who are going to be acquiring the fleet. It's investors who put their vehicles within the company, and so that would be an added requirement for them to add cameras within the vehicles so that our customers feel safe when they're traveling.
Yes, I'm getting from that response that you're describing them as investors, but you're expecting persons to contribute their vehicles to the fleet, and so the fleet would be comprised only of others who put their cars in. I'm assuming persons who own taxis and want to drive taxis.
That's correct. So if you or a friend of yours have an interest in putting a taxi on the road, you can buy a vehicle and put it into in Wom, and we would find the drivers for you, and then we connect the drivers with the passengers through our app.
Okay, interesting. What stage of operation are you?
We are currently still in research and development, so we are looking to at least become a startup by November of this year.
Okay, and final question, can you describe your team and their experience in the transportation or technology business?
Well, currently I'm the only team member. I'm an HR professional, and so from where I sit, I have oversight for most of the business processes within the company that I work. One of the companies that I have oversight for is a transportation company, and so while I'm not integral in the runnings of the company, I am aware of what happens within the company, and I'm able to influence some of the decisions that are made there in terms of hiring.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, judges. Any questions from any member of the audience? Yes? No? Going once? Twice?
There's one here.
We have one question there, but I think that person needs a microphone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations on your bold move with this proposed ride-sharing app. I'm curious though, the name of the company is Wom?
Wom.
Wom.
W-O-O-M. So like Zoom, but Wom for women.
I thought I was hearing moon, which to me, is just a little bit more seamless a name? Bright, shine, safe? I don't know. I'm not sure for me how the name is sitting, really.
It's a play on a number of things. So
Yes.
the Zoom womb, but also it's women and or wombs.
Okay. I get that. But anyway, it's all right. I don't know anything.
Thank you for that question. Any other?
Hi, how are you? Just a quick question. I didn't hear anything as it relates to insurance.
Right. So the insurance is not undertaken by us for, I'm assuming you're talking about the vehicles, right? So the investors who are the owners of the vehicle would be responsible for those costs and for ensuring that their vehicles are up to par and up to standard when they're put into on the road. So just like when you're out on the road and you decide that you want to put a taxi on the road, you are responsible for all of the caring for the vehicle and all of that. As the owner of the vehicle, you're responsible for that. So we do not take on that liability.
Oh.
Thank you. Right, so thanks for that question. Our premium service enables our riders to select comfort services that are catered specifically to them. And so if you are a rider with a special need, you can select our premium service and you can indicate what specialized service you need to ensure that your ride is comfortable.
Hi, afternoon. Right here.
Oh.
I love the idea, by the way. I love
you.
everything about the business.
Thank you.
I just want to know, it being female-only drivers, how do you then still prevent, women are also used as a tool in human trafficking, sex trafficking. How do you vet? Still, even though it's women, there's still a risk there that they can be instruments of crime. So I want to know more about how do you vet the women drivers who are there as well.
Well, like I said, the background checks are really tantamount to our operations. We have a responsibility to ensure that we extend our due diligence to make sure that our drivers are rightful citizens within Jamaica. And so our background checks will help us to determine that. That will be conducted by a third party as well as ourselves at WOM. And police records as well will help us to determine if these persons are upstanding citizens within society.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that's it. We're out of time. Thank you. Can I give a big round of applause
Thank you so
to Ms.
much.
Carice Stewart, founder of Wom Rides. Thank you, Carice. And let's welcome Mr. Jamie Hall, the CEO of Chofa Express. Remember, Jamie, you have 6 minutes.
Good afternoon. We're Chofa Express, and we're shrinking Jamaica by delivering everything to your door. Picture Auntie Donna. She is a baker selling in downtown Kingston. Soon, through Chofa Express, sales double as Donna's delectable delights reach new homes across Jamaica same day. In 18 months, we have grown an idea into a movement, earning $2 million monthly from just 2 branches. Broken logistics hold us all back. Mothers wait hours for essentials. Entrepreneurs miss opportunities because their reach is trapped within their parish. That missing last mile has led to so many lost sales and limited growth. Let's break free together. Our platform doesn't just deliver, it empowers. Every feature, from the real-time tracking to the e-commerce marketplace, was crafted right here in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans, which is why in both our regions, we have earned our 96% 5-star reviews because we're not just a service. we're part of our communities. With 7 cars and 3 bikes, we handle 2,500 deliveries monthly, shrinking barriers between businesses and families. Our product is high quality delivery and fulfillment. We're competitively priced, but we compete on value over discounts. We're in St. Catherine and Manchester, and we fiercely promote online, out of home, and through our glowing reviews. Our commercial customers are frustrated with their in-house logistics, and they need to outsource to us so they can focus on their core business. And our consumer segment is broad. Chofa is your reliable, on-demand service to tackle modern life. Right now, we're tripling our capacity to keep up with the demand. By 2030, we will have 7 branches, a 200-strong team, and handle 8 million deliveries annually. After that, we'll export better logistics across the Caribbean. We have targeted all the major towns and highway exits. These towns are home to 2.2 million people, 1.1 million employed, and 660,000 online, banked, and ready for Chofa. This is our $7.1 billion target. The English CARICOM market is worth $23 billion. Our network will put Port Royal next to Port of Spain, Bridgetown beside Bagwalk, and eliminate marketplace barriers within our community. Our systems are computerized and automated. We incentivize volume, quality, and speed. Our customer experience is unmatched, refined, and repeatable. And we accept many local and international payments. We have competitors with either a traditional or narrow focus. We have better technology than Tara and Doorway. We're more flexible than Get It Sent and Driver. And we have much better customer service than all the food carriers. The problem of end-to-end fulfillment is also known. Competitors have tried to weave together different companies for a solution. Our competitive advantage here is that we are already a vertically integrated system that businesses can rely on for payments, delivery, and e-commerce. We are a young company, but we have the wisdom to mitigate risk. We have strict hiring and data security protocols. We have payment fraud protection. Customers have real-time tracking, and our drivers have traffic-aware routing. And to keep the ship on course, we have dashboards of indicators for business oversight. We've more than doubled our revenue in the last year. Following the capacity increase, we will earn $7.7 million a month and a net profit of 10%. Imagine what we could do with your generous funding, which is why we're seeking $150,000 US to bring our service to our nation's capital. Chofa Kingston will be key in strengthening our network of our logistics engine. Your 5 to 7.5% stake in our future will purchase our fleet, set up, and market the Kingston Fulfillment Center, then ramp us to $15 million a month. Our timeline has been rapid. Now we are here. As we reach for our goals, your ROI will grow. The lessons learned from opening Portmore will be pivotal in strengthening Kingston and beyond. We've been here before, and our team is a good friend of success. I have deployed warehouse robots across North America and led engineering teams for global logistics giants. I have scaled with startups from 20 to over 400 people through successful exits. But this isn't just about building another business. This is about building our home, our nation, and our region. With your investment, we won't just deliver packages and strong returns. We will faithfully deliver on Jamaica's promise with Caribbean innovation on every Chofa delivery. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you. Jamie, thank you very, very much, man. You were like on point. And you're within your 6 minutes. So I'm sure the judges are going to give you some credit for that. Judges, over to you. Any questions?
I'll just turn on the mic for the sake of turning it on, but I'm fine.
We're thorough at Chofa.
Okay, can you give me some more information on your expense to profit ratio at this point?
Right.
I don't
so-
expect a profit, but just some understanding of your burn rate or your expenses.
Right. So right now, our break-even point is 2,400 deliveries a month, and we're at 2,500. So in our 18 months, we just passed that turning point. And as we expand, you know, that break-even point will go up. We've calculated for that in the slide. So once we expand within these two regions, we'll still like add much more distance between our expenses and our revenue.
All right, so repeat that. Help me to understand the expense ratio.
Right, so at past that break-even point, it's 40%. That's our gross profit. And then once we factor in all the salaries, all the taxes and everything, we're left with 10%, which is very standard in the logistics industry.
Does that include your fuel costs, etc.?
Yep, so the fuel cost, that's included with the
And
salaries
insurance
portion
and
as
so
well.
on.
And the insurance. So everything for vehicle upkeep, marketing and all of that, that's included. That's how we arrive at our net profit number, because that's what we're left with at the end of the day.
In terms of the fleet, are you looking at ownership of the fleet and?
Right, so we own our fleet, and we made this decision because of economies of scale. So we can't change the price of gas, but we can influence how much our suppliers charge us. So our mechanics are much cheaper with us, parts, that's cheaper for us as well. And we import them directly so that we don't pay the markup that the dealers charge. We save about 30 to 35% on each vehicle.
Okay. Currently, you're operating in the Manchester area, and you've gotten this rate of growth in the Manchester area. Am I correct?
So we're in Manchester and Portmore and Spanish Town. So
Manchester,
St. Catherine
Portmore,
opened April of last year. It's about 10 months old right now, and it's surpassed Manchester actually.
Okay. So as you expand, though, you are going to run into those competitors that you had mentioned, some of whom have beachheads in certain of these critical areas and locations. How do you plan to counter that level of competition? Because the market is pretty crowded at this point.
Right, so fortunately, we've already encountered those competitors in Portmore. Seven Crave, Quick Cart, they're in Portmore, and we're giving them a fight. So we're competing on value, which means that we have customers who appreciate the level of professionalism that we bring. We don't just hire anyone to join Chofa. You have to actually go through rigorous testing and training to ensure that no one is wheeling with people's dinner or anything ridiculous like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, judges. Any questions from our audience? We have a question here.
Hi, excellent presentation. My name is Sherry Williams. So my question is, how do you plan to scale your operations given that you're not making enough right now to buy extra fleet and you're only looking to raise $150,000? So how do you scale since your method is to own your fleets?
Right, so we're already starting to acquire those additional vehicles to deal with the demand we have right now. We're currently not able to service the demand. In terms of scaling the operation, we put in place systems to ensure that preventative maintenance is what we do, as opposed to waiting until the vehicles break down, which saves us a lot, as well as defensive driving courses for the drivers to cut down on the chance of accidents. What we found some of our competitors do, like 876 Get, when they ask people to put vehicles in the business, they end up putting the worst vehicles in the business. So you'll have someone give you a vehicle and it keeps breaking down, which is not very reliable and not the experience we want our customers to have. So it's all about the systems that we put in place and careful watching our costs with our dashboards that we have.
All right, thank you. Any other question? Going once, going twice. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And now we're going to welcome our last contestant here, Mr. Michael Mullins, the founder and CEO of Chatflow Limited. And remember, Michael, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you. Check. All protocols observed. Good evening. Think back to the last time you've contacted customer support locally. Chances are you've experienced 3 things: long wait times, inaccurate information, or even no response. I am Michael Mullins, CEO, founder, and chief data scientist at Chatflow Limited. And today, I'll show you how we're making Caribbean businesses omni-channel. You see, in Jamaica, we spend 25 minutes waiting on hold for customer support. And this is 10 times worse compared to regions parallel to us. And this is all despite Jamaica being the premier place for business process outsourcing. Yet this is truly frustrating to end users. You see, at Chatflow, we have this hypothesis. Caribbean SMEs are struggling due to 4 core problems, and it starts with their lack of customer support platforms. It starts with the high cost of traditional customer support and ends with their inability to deliver consistent and personalized customer support to end users. So there has to be a better way to solve this, right? Introducing Chatflow, the Caribbean's first premier customer service platform powered by AI, empowering business users to manage customer support on the go. You see, at Chatflow, we're slashing wait times with the use of AI agents. So whether you serve your consumers on your website or across social media, we're creating one unified place to manage all customer communications to ensure it's efficient, scalable, and culturally relevant. So how does Chatflow work? It works in 4 ways. First, we train our AI on your business data, documents, website links, FAQs that you'll create using our data flow management process, or DFM for short. This allows us to automate routine responses to answer inquiries quickly, slashing response times and workloads for your staff. Finally, due to our low-code solution, we're able to rapidly deploy across all your digital touchpoints. And then in the last step, we elevate your customer satisfaction scores in real time due to our patent-pending AI sentiment engine, allowing us to deliver a more culturally relevant experience for your consumers. You see, our revenue model is simple. We're a B2B SaaS platform offering 3 tiers of subscription. So whether you're a growing startup or a large enterprise, there's a plan to meet your needs and affordability. Unlike our competitors, we have some secret sauce. And what is that? Our generative AI models understands Patois and all Caribbean Creoles. That's something that has been overlooked for the last few decades. Backed by World Bank data, we're targeting the top 8% of businesses within our TAM. That's over 34,000 SMEs in our SOM, and it represents a $72 million revenue opportunity for us, and that's USD. Since starting, we've had over 92 beta testers, that's individual organizations. Since last October, we've signed our first 2 enterprise partnerships and generated over $2.2 million in annual recurring revenue. And guess what? Come January 31st of this year, we're launching our live agent transfer, so you business leaders or your support team can talk to your consumers if they don't want to speak to AI at any point in time. And guess what? For Q1 of 2025, we've already had earmarked $5.5 million in annual recurring revenue due to 5 enterprise partnerships that we just signed. And to do all this, we need a great team. I call them the Avengers. A team that is dedicated to mission success. With over 50 years of experience in consulting, business process outsourcing, telecommunications, and engineering. My journey started out in the BPO industry. I took those support calls. I understand the unique challenges that the customers face. I've worked my way up to senior leadership, which gives me a unique perspective to drive this team to mission success. And that is why our ask is so simple. We're seeking 500,000 USD in pre-seed investment for a 20% equity stake in our business to help us meet our next set of milestones. And that's increasing our customer base to 425 active monthly users, to add 7 full-time FTEs to our organization, and finally, to speed up development of critical features based on customer feedback. And in closing, I leave you guys with a quote. Customer service shouldn't be a department, it should be the entire company. And if you believe in our ethos to revolutionize customer support for Caribbean business, let's connect. Please use the details on screen to connect to me to learn more about how we can transform your customer support in the digital channel. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was Mr. Michael Mullins, the founder and CEO of Chatflow Limited. Judges, over to you.
I just wanted you to go back over your secret sauce.
Sure, and it's called AI language localization. So our models are trained specifically on all Caribbean Creoles, which allows us to understand more of the Caribbean nationals. We know that 82% of consumers still speak in their local dialect online. So we want to capitalize on that. So our competitors such as Zendesk, Ada, which is what Mailpack and Ruby uses at Digicel, doesn't understand patois. If you type Wagwan, you get stuck in a convoluted loop. And we want to take customers out of those loops. I'm not throwing shade, guys, I'm just being honest from research. And we want to ensure that they have a great experience, whether they're connecting with your consumers across WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook, or even your website. We can understand their different language nuances, and that's our secret sauce.
Okay, I didn't get the all Caribbean Creole, so that's
Sorry,
pretty
I
good.
apologize for that.
And the 92 data testing clients that you spoke of?
92 beta testers, yes.
Right. Were they from different parts of the region or just Jamaica?
We start in Jamaica first, so those 92 consumers who were beta testers were Jamaican businesses. That's our starting point.
Okay. And you found that those clients that were contacting those companies had this language issue?
Yeah, so in the current support strategies in the digital channel, 50% didn't have any digital strategy in terms of communication. It's either fragmented, which means you'll send a message on Instagram, say you want to know about the cost or address or product from an e-com store, there's no response over a week. And the other 50%, they had something, but they're looking to change. One particular example, when I met with National Land Agency, that was their challenge. So we helped them to realize that, because of the unique needs of their consumer and the product that they're currently using, they found us a better fit, not just on pricing, but in terms of the value based on their consumer. They're not too technical, and they want something that they can quickly respond to, not just transactional, but conversational.
Okay, so it wasn't just SMEs that you tested it on, you used organizations?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You mentioned that your secret sauce is being able to capture all languages, Creole and Patois.
Yeah.
What's preventing Zendesk from doing the same?
That's a very good point. I understand that these large companies can crush me like a cockroach, as Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank would say, but we're predicated in the fact that I'm culturally aware. I've been in the BPO industry. I understand the insights and the pitfalls of those tools because I've used Zendesk in my time in the BPO. And they're made for an American market and European market. I'm not going to say they're not looking to, but it will be easier for them to do an M&A with us because we've done the research.
Okay. And you mentioned there's a patent pending. Can you explain that?
Yes, so our AI sentiment engine, we go beyond CSAT and NPS. We allow our business...
I have no clue what that is.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, no worries. So sentiment analysis is the ability for us to understand the customer's emotion and present that to business leaders in written language. Okay. So we can understand how well the conversation went, and not only that, but which departments were impacted by the conversation. So for instance, a university is doing admissions, and they want to see what went wrong in the admissions process, if it went right, what went wrong, why the student didn't, matriculate to signing up. We can see all that information and provide that quickly right in the conversation history section of our application. Yeah.
I'm just curious why in the pitch you focused on SMEs as your ideal target market.
That's a very good point. When I originally started, I wanted to target startups first, but I realized it's hard to sell to them. And a lot of the traction came from MSMEs. They wanted to pay for the service, even though it's subscription or monthly, they wanted to pay up front. And I just switched focus because that's where the traction was coming from.
And you didn't get any interest from larger organizations?
Yeah, I do. I'm not sure if you saw the logos.
But you still didn't see them as a viable market segment?
They are. I'm sorry that I didn't mention that.
It was very heavy on the SME, so I was just
Yes.
curious.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Yes.
Okay, I'm impressed by the experience that your team and the breadth of your team, and that is a big plus for you. The questions I have actually more surround the market space and the opportunity.
Sure.
So the field of AI and developing AI agents is something that is rapidly growing. The challenge with that is that once you have the basic skill set of how to design and develop these AI agents, there really is a low barrier, otherwise low barrier to entry in the space, which means that within, say, another 18 months, we can expect to see a lot of companies coming up offering the same services as you have. Ricardo earlier mentioned about the use of AI agents in his operation. Cleared ID talked about use of AI agents, etc. So, and currently, there are companies that have developed chatbots, local companies I'm talking, not Zendesk.
ITEL.
Pardon?
ITEL to be specific.
There is ITEL. There is one that I'm not sure exactly what they're doing now, but early in the space, IPP, I don't know if that's the same one.
I know of them, yeah.
That's right. So there are already individuals, companies rather, that have developed chatbots that could do local languages and so on. How do you plan to counter those local competitors that are already doing chatbots in local languages and the low barrier to entry in this space?
Excellent point. So not only, it doesn't come down to just writing code for LLMs. What's important is the data set that you're training them on. So we have a specific focus, not just on the language, but to be customer service focused. So yes, you can use any API to get a chatbot to work, but then you miss out on the experience that I bring to creating that proprietary LLM that works with our system. For one, I've taken over 1 million different phone calls across different channels in terms of customer support. I bring that experience in writing the algorithms needed to bolster LLM. So yes, we started out with using OpenAI, but right now we have our own modified version of Llama 2 that we expose to our customers, and that's what they're using. So yes, you can pay for LLM, but what goes into writing the code to avoid hallucination, etc., is where the secret sauce is.
Okay, okay.
Just one final question before we close. I realize you assess and analyze a lot of data based on the responses from a particular customers or users on the platform. How do you manage from a DPA perspective?
Thanks for bringing that up. That's a very important question. So we want to point out that we're data protection compliant. We're ISO 27001 compliant as well. We're HIPAA compliant as well. In addition to that, we keep data for 90 days and allow the businesses to download as conversations progress. And we notify them when a purge is taking place of that data set. We don't process card transaction in chat. I've recently did a demo where I said that and they said they understood why. If they have links to their payment gateway from NCB, we can provide that link in chat to the consumer and they'll go to that secure page. But from a data protection standpoint, we ensure that we purge data after 90 days and we are GDPR compliant because of our database provider, which is Superbase as well.
All right, thank you, judges. Any questions from our audience? I see one hand up.
Thank you for your presentation, excellent.
Thank you.
I don't know if I missed it. Can you speak to your revenue model or your price point and how that matches up with the competition?
Sure, thank you so much. So our competition charge per agent seat, we don't do that. We offer a fixed, let me just go to that slide so I can explain if that's all right. Apologies, guys. Excellent. So we offer 3 tiers of subscription: Essential, Growth, and Enterprise. We start at $59.99 and we offer 3 users login, and of course that's managed based on security. Then of course it's increased for Growth and Enterprise. So all the different tiers offer different feature along with price. On the enterprise side, though, we do offer managed services specifically to those clients, those larger clients. They need an account manager, a customer success manager, and a support SME, a support engineer tailored to them. So that's how our revenue model works. Just like Netflix, there's a subscription, pay more for more features, and you can scale with us as your volume grows. Hopefully that answered your question.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Going once, going twice. Thank you, Mr. Michael Mullins, founder and CEO of Chatflow Limited.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Great. So now is a moment of truth. I think all the scores will be tabulated, and in a few moments we will know who won this venture capital pitch room, was the first runner-up, second runner-up, and the person who came fourth. So, Andre, what's the projected wait time for the scores to be tabulated, sir? The judges are tabulating the scores. But I thought those were 4 very interesting pitches. Give them another round of applause, please. I certainly heard a lot of tech words, 90% of which I understand not. I have to go and do some research when I go home, like LLM and sentiment and this and... All right, boss, you're trying to put me on the spot. But I wiggle out of that one. You have to talk to my IT people. I head up investment banking. So when you're ready to go public, then you'll come and talk to me. That's when we talk, all right? Yep. But also I think there's a very great initiative of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. They've been doing it now for quite a number of years to give young entrepreneurs an opportunity to speak about their business, speak about their ideas, and obviously raise capital to go off and do what they need to do. I think, Andre, the next stage ought to be bringing back some of those entrepreneurs that would have won in the venture capital pitch to tell us where they are.
Where are they now?
Exactly.
Yes, very good idea.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll take
That's
that on
my
board.
idea for next year. I'm not charging you for it, okay?
No, we'll bill you
That's
anyway.
for free.
Thank you, Carl. That's a very good idea. That's excellent idea.
Yes, sir. All right, judges, let me go on. False alarm, folks, false alarm. The scores have been tabulated. Then they will come to me. I don't know which auditing firm is going to validate those results. Maybe it's just me. And then we'll announce the winners. And then judges, I'm going to ask you to stand by to make the presentations to the person who came fourth, third one up, first one up, etc. And then, where's Andre? I think someone from the Jamaica Stock Exchange will hand out the prize for the person who was deemed to do the best pitch today. And I think they get a check as well. Hi, Marlene. I'm good. There's a big conference going on over there. Yeah. I should sing a song? Or you want to sing a song? Did somebody say they wanted to sing a song? No? Looks like it's a very tight competition. I think it's going to come down to a half point, something like that. righty then. Hello? Right. So, the moment of truth. But just before we announce the persons who won, just to give you an idea of what they would have won. So, the pitch that came forth will get a gift basket, and so will all the other persons who did not come first. All right, so all the persons who did not come first will get a gift basket, courtesy of the stock exchange, and the entity that won, or was deemed to have won today, we get a check for 500,000 Jamaican dollars. So can we give the JSE a big round of applause for that? And I think I'm going to go over that side so that the persons can come up and receive their stuff on this side. Yeah, I think it works better this way. So, in fourth place, I'm going to invite on to the stage, who has the gift baskets, by the way? Right, can you come forward with the gift basket? I'm going to ask the judges to hand out the gift baskets. So, I'm going to ask Mr. Kevin McIntosh to hand out this gift basket to the person that came fourth. If you could get the gift basket on the stage, that would be wonderful. Oh, I see gift basket. I see, is that a piece of artwork there? All right. So, Mr. McIntosh, sir, if you will. And can you give a big round of applause to Cleared ID. Mr. Desmond Campbell, founder of Cleared ID, in fourth place. Gift basket being presented by Mr. Kevin McIntosh of Signature Creed and Associates. Oh, and you're getting a goodie bag as well. And you also get the goodie bag. Goodie bag. Don't leave the goodie bag. You never can tell what's in there. It's a mystery. All right. Thank you very much. And I am going to ask Miss Janine Fletcher-Taylor to do the honors here. And may I invite on stage, big round of applause, please, for Miss Carice Stewart, founder of Wom Rides, in third place. Give her a big round of applause. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And Miss Natalie Rose Doyen, if you could do the honors. No, you can stay in the middle, in the center. And I hope you can manage. What is that there? Can you see? That's it's a painting from a very famous artist whose name I do not know. And a goodie bag with mystery items. And can I invite on stage Mr. Jamie Hall, CEO of Chofa Express. If this were a beauty pageant, we'd say you're the first runner-up. But since it's not, we say you came second. Congratulations. Give him a big round of applause, please. All right, thank you very much. And Dr. Marlene Street Forest, once more to the stage. You know you're the star. Come on. And let's all act surprised like we don't know who the person who won, right? Let's pretend we don't know. Drum roll. Ding, ding, ding. Mr. Michael Mullings, founder and CEO, Chatflow Limited. Please come on stage and receive your humongous check for $500,000. Neville, can you give the gentleman his goodie bag?
He's going to get it back.
Yeah.
One at a time.
One at a time. Okay, we're doing it twice. Wonderful.
They have to make sure about
The check.
the check. That's
Yes.
the most important.
Right. Wonderful. And then take your goodie bag. There's a lot of mystery items in there. I can tell you, I got one of those bags, a lot of mystery items in there. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Forrest. Thank you very much, Mr. Mullins, and thank you very much, audience. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much, judges. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 2 of this wonderful Capital Markets Conference.
Thank you very much, Carl. We're on the way to Villaranae now. See you there shortly.
Oh, yes, Villaranae. There'll be, what did he say again? Dancing, fashion, film, and food. Music. Wonderful, wonderful.